Morning, I'm Eric Reeser. Tyvis Powell fired the cannon Thursday at Nationwide. It rang 6 more times before the end of the night as the Blue Jackets extended their point streak to 11 straight with a 6-3 win over the Rangers. Adam Fantilli had a pair of goals in the win that puts the Blue Jackets currently in third place in the Metropolitan Division. CBJ jumped the Islanders after New York lost in Ottawa last night in regulation. Columbus will wrap a 3-game homestand tomorrow night against the Seattle Kraken. In college hoops, Ohio State was dismissed from the Big Dance Thursday. Buckeyes lost to TCU 66-64 in the round of 64. Ohio State wasn't the only Big Ten team to bow out Thursday. Wisconsin lost to High Point 83-82. 3 Ohio teams are in action today. Miami, Wright State, and Akron as the round of 64 thins to 32. This update is sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union, voted best local credit union for the last 8 years by CBUS Top Picks. Visit bmifcu.org to learn more.
Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
Talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy, Austin Ward. My good buddy, Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lesmerises joining us.
Hi, everybody. Tom Barry here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah.
And then
and
then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only 2 guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
I don't think you feel the phrase thrill of victory, agony of defeat more than in March, than in the madness. And then the round of 64, that's win and you're on to Saturday, win and you're on to Sunday, lose and, well, that's it. And for a lot of people, for a lot of players, for a lot of coaches, that's it for a 4 or 5 year career. And unfortunately, that's the discussion we'll have with Bruce Thornton and the basketball Buckeyes today. Good morning. Happy Friday. Still got a handful of games for the round of 64 before it thins to 32. Eric Reeser, Jacob Reimer, the venerable Tim May for the next 3 hours. Good morning, Tim.
Good morning, Reeser.
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well, man. I already gave you the background of how I got here.
Yeah, you haven't slept
here.
much.
No, I'm all right though. I'm doing okay. But wow, what a day it was. For at the end they play one shining moment, and at the beginning they play one awful moment.
Mm-hmm.
For the teams that lose, especially Ohio State. I mean, but we'll get into it in a little while. But
We got
but
3 hours.
Yeah, but the bottom line is, a month ago, nobody gave that team a chance to even be in the tournament. Now, all these people were calling for the firing of Jake, a lot of them were for the firing of Jake Deaver. One of my buddies was a big adamant guy in that regard. And so, you just know the achievement that was done over the last month to get into the tournament. And now all of a sudden they stink again. You know what I mean? I mean, in a lot of people's minds, I'm going, no, that game was a one-shot. That game was a one-play game. It was 8 versus 9. That's what an 8 versus 9 game should look like, I mean, you saw what St. Louis did a 9 last night, and so beat the 8. But the bottom line is, you leave it up to one shot. You can't figure out the man defense. I mean, that was hard to watch in the first half.
Remind you,
but the second half was cool.
It was everything you want in an NCAA tournament game, because you felt in the last 4 or 5 minutes as Ohio State takes a lead and then they go back and forth, the Buckeyes and the Horned Frogs, you start to feel it. I don't know if you're like me and you're standing up and you're pacing around your living room and you kind of take a step back during the commercial and think to yourself, this is the greatest thing ever. And it's because you're in the moment. Like, we are prisoners of that. But it felt like when you kind of take a step back from Ohio State's out of the tournament, didn't they watch film and know that what TCU was going to try to do? And there's kind of parallels that you can draw between Ohio State and TCU yesterday and Ohio State and Indiana in the Big Ten Championship, Ohio State and Miami in the college football playoff. Where you're like, you knew kind of what they were going to do. You knew how physical they were going to play. You knew the style that TCU wanted to run. And you didn't feel adequately prepared for it at first. You made some proper adjusting at half, but it just didn't end up the way you wanted.
Yeah, but in any kind of game like that, there's a shock and awe moment at the beginning because you've never played this team.
Yeah.
You've only seen them on video, and you've seen them pretty much whipsaw in your mind. When you're a team from the Big Ten, inferior opponents compared to what you went to against night after night in the Big Ten. And I think it's sometimes you just figure you're going to win the game the way you've been playing.
Sure.
And you don't expect a matchup, sort of a matchup nightmare they had early in that game when they, as I tweeted near the end of the first half, when you have the team that's pressing and playing like that defensively on the half court, I mean, it was a full half court press.
Yes, it was.
as I like to say. You've got a mismatch somewhere there, though. You got to find the man-to-man mismatch. And it took Ohio State forever to find that, in my opinion, on a consistent basis. But, Devin Royal, I had J.J. Sullinger on my podcast again middle of this week, and we were talking about how these games come down to, finding that weak link, et cetera. Devin Royal was the punch, like the punch kid was to Ohio State.
Yes, he
Devin
was.
Royal was that guy for TCU, but it took him a while to really figure that out. And then Amari Bynum turned it up a notch, which you wish, they had found that out because Amari Bynum had some advantages in that game.
He sure did.
That you should have exploited earlier. All kinds of ways when you look back on it. But when you're watching it even right there real time, you're going, hey, you got to get out of whatever this is you're doing because you look – it looked like TCU, all of the players had like 1 foot extensions on their arms.
Yep.
Because their hands were everywhere. Agreed?
They were as active as I've seen a team against Ohio State.
But when you've got a team overplaying on defense like that, you've got some opportunities on whatever you want to call it, sluggo routes. Slant and goes, stop and goes.
That's what
like
they did. That's what they did to start the second half with that backdoor cut for Mobley.
Proper adjustments at the half.
Exactly.
Almost too little, too late, and you're only going to think about that last 5 seconds.
Right. So
for the next 365 days.
Yeah, that was a failing but they got themselves back in it, took the lead, and had a chance at the end. I did not. I don't know about you. I was privileged to cover Duke versus Kentucky back in 1992. The pass and the shot. I was probably 55 feet from Leitner when he made the shot. Sitting on press row there in the Spectrum. But the point is, that was an ill-conceived final play with 4.1 seconds left to not get a quality shot with that much time left. That was a failing.
There was the phrase, act like you've been there before, especially in that kind of a late-game situation. And I realized after the fact, Ohio State hadn't been there before. Bruce Thornton hadn't been there before. Jake Diebler hadn't been there before. And really,
but they've played in games before.
They have. Yeah, they have. Just nothing
before.
Like that in an NCAA tournament style.
Yeah.
The criticism I had of Jake Diebler last week, because it was hard to find real criticisms of the last 2 weeks with the way they've been playing, but especially in that Big Ten quarterfinal against Michigan, where at the end of halves. Right, it didn't feel like the Buckeyes could inbound in the first half. They had like 2 times against Michigan, and then the final play against the Wolverines. It felt to me that's the biggest weakness for this team was your inability to properly inbound, and then your inability at the late game situation when you needed to make a play. What the hell were you going to do? And that's going to bother Jake for the next year, and that's going to bother Bruce Thornton forever.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the finality of all of this, to where that's it. You don't get a do-over. There's no oopsie daisy. You win, and for TCU, you're now on to Duke on Saturday. For Ohio State, it's thinking about what happens with the rest of your offseason, trying to rebuild this roster, trying to remake this roster. What happens for 2026? I did real quick want to get a wellness check on one Jacob Reimer as one of the other upsets from yesterday, and not less we had that kind of upset, but if you were upset that North Carolina bowed out to VCU in overtime.
Yeah, that was a really tough one. Like, We had food DoorDash to our house last night, and I got it.
Y'all did it up right.
We got it about in the second half, and they were up 19, and then VCU goes on their run, and I hadn't touched the food, and I think even an hour after the game, I still hadn't touched it. I was like, there's no way that just happened. And I've slept on it, of course, almost didn't sleep, but it's definitely a tough one to swallow. Like you looked great for 30 minutes, but it's just been the same thing for North Carolina under Hubert Davis. It's either been a big blown lead in a national championship or now a first round game, or they have an insane comeback. And I feel like I'm trying to turn the page because I've watched too much college basketball this year to not quit on it and know that today is going to be an awesome day too.
Yeah, it's like for fans of these teams, I call it the cold pizza moment because you had all this gala and you were fired up for watching your team, and all of a sudden it's over. All this drama for March Madness, et cetera. Pardon me, but of course my phone is on. I get 10 spam calls an hour, but you get all this build up, and then boom, it's over. I mean, for 32 teams, actually. Yeah, well, no. Now, how many teams lost in the first round? 4.
Six,
For 36 teams, within a span of 3-4 days, it's over.
It's done.
Yeah. So
I mean, I didn't
this
have
thing
high
that you're going to bask in March Madness for like a month is not correct.
I mean, I didn't have high hopes for Carolina coming into this anyways. Like, you're without Caleb Wilson, your star freshman who's going to be a top 3 pick, and just the path wasn't there. But, I mean, I'm not going to lie. After the first 30 minutes, the way they looked, my hopes were kind of up. I'm like, hey, I mean, if they can keep playing like this, they could give Illinois a run for their money.
And for Ohio State, when the Buckeyes are in, you take that lead in the second half, and Junie Mobley and everybody's starting to hit shots.
Yeah.
Right? You get that hope. You're like, oh, you start thinking about Duke. You start thinking about the next day.
They were capable, without a doubt, of being in that game. And I kept telling people on my podcast, Duke is not the same Duke as it was a couple of weeks ago.
Certainly, they got tested by Siena yesterday.
Yeah, I call it the Siena minivans. I mean, they literally took them to the wire. They just literally a minivan ran out of gas.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I mean, everybody was talking about how tough that bracket was, and I kept looking at it going, no, this is as my buddy J.J. Sullinger put it. He thought it was going to be a 2-trip. NCAA appearance for Ohio State. One to Greenville and one to the regional.
Real quick, I said it this morning on Morning Juice. The difference in those two games, Ohio State and the North Carolina game, Ohio State had that comeback to take the lead and everything, but TCU had the final push, even though that they had the lead the majority of the game. North Carolina led the majority of the game. They let VCU come back into it, but North Carolina didn't deliver that final push. It was all Villanova, or
so you're
all
going to get
VCU.
The victors on Saturday, TCU and Duke. They'll meet at 5:15 in Greenville, South Carolina. We've got a lot of tournament to discuss over the next 3 hours. Doug Lesmerises is going to join at 11:30, get his thoughts on the basketball Buckeyes bowing out in the big dance. And then spring football resumes next week for Ohio State. That's why one of the many reasons I'm glad Tim May's in the house with us. At 10:30, I'm going to try something.
Uh-oh.
And I don't know how it's going to go, but
backflip?
Well, not necessarily. I don't have nearly that athleticism, but we're going to jump back into the NCAA tournament coming up next. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
Head to 971thefan.com to listen on demand and subscribe to all our podcasts. Wasting time has never been easier. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Winning isn't everything, but at Tim Hortons, every day's a chance to win when you play Roll Up to Win. Maybe it's a free coffee or donut, or a year's supply of fuel from Shell. That goes a long way. Maybe it's a Kobo e-reader, or up to $1,000 in Uber Eats gift cards, or even a VIP getaway to see Cirque du Soleil. Okay, not something you win every day. Roll Up to Win, only at Tim Hortons. No purchase necessary. 18 plus. Ends March 22nd, 2026. Tim Hortons app required for digital game. Use the app to reveal digital rules. Game cups while supplies last. Offer a chance to win food and beverage prizes only. See official rules at rolluptowin.com.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Spring is right around the corner, and we bet you're excited for warmer weather. But as the temperatures rise, make sure your energy bills don't. Keep those cooling costs low with Window Nation's high-quality, energy-efficient products. Simply request a consultation where their experts will visit your home, spot problem areas, and make recommendations. Your customized windows can be installed in a day. Once completed, your home will be shielded from outside hot air while you remain cool and comfortable inside throughout the spring and summer. With Window Nation, your house won't just look great, but you'll also have peace of mind. All of Window Nation's products are backed by a lifetime warranty. In fact, there's no better time to upgrade your home with Window Nation than right now. In March, the more you buy, the more savings you could enjoy, up to 50% off all window styles. And be sure to ask about Window Nation's generous financing options, including $0 down, 0% interest for 60 months, and payments as little as $199 a month. Visit windownation.com today to schedule your free consultation. Once again, that's windownation.com.
It's Common Man and Timmy for our friends at Hollywood Casino.
Oh, it's a big month, Common Man.
Why?
Because there's lots of basketball to watch and lots of cash to win.
That's right. If you're watching hoops, you can reserve your spot at HollywoodColumbus.com. And some of the packages come with $300 in dining credits.
And this month you could win $1 million instantly. That's your final answer. Plus, there's multiple ways to score big cash prizes weekly.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Hey, basketball.
Most people don't think about their garage door until it stops working. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello, owner of Don's Garage Door Service. A noisy garage door is a cry for help. Most repairs are simple, but if left untreated, they can turn into costly repairs. Your garage door works hard every day, and a little maintenance goes a long way. We fix garage doors fast with quality parts designed to last a lifetime. There's never a good time for your garage door to break, whether you're rushing to work or you're trying to get the kids to school. We know how much you rely on your garage door. That's why we offer same-day repairs, because life doesn't wait, and neither should you. Over 90,000 five-star reviews don't happen by accident. They happen by putting people first. Fixing your garage door is what we do, but making your life easier and your home safer is why we do it. Families trust us because we deliver, and we'd be honored to earn your trust too. From repairs to upgrades, call Don's Garage Door Service today.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, commercial properties. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
T-Bone and Tybus is sponsored by Capital Ford of Columbus.
Tybus, great explorers looked at like mountains and were like, look at that mountain. Someone needs to summit it. That's how I look at that box of fries. Someone needs to conquer that, and that someone is me.
Mornings on The Fan.
Some foot issues just can't be fixed by those expensive shoe stores or shoe inserts. A foot exam from a doctor of podiatric medicine, who is the medical expert in foot and ankle care, may give solutions after doing a complete foot examination. If you suffer from foot, heel, or ankle pain, let us help you find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association so you know you are being treated by the very best.
For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit ohiofoot.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Mostly cloudy skies today and warm and windy as daytime highs soar into the upper 60s to even low 70s. Could see a chance of showers and thunderstorms late afternoon into the evening, but it will be more isolated in nature. For tonight, mostly cloudy overnight with lows in the 40s, and then for Saturday, a dry day with sunshine throughout the afternoon. Highs getting in the mid to upper 60s. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
We are your radio home for the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. We may have a bit of a football problem. Oh, yeah. The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Bo knows many people. He talks to the interesting ones on this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
Yes, it is. Bo's on spring break. Baker's doing the OHSAA Boys State Tournament over in Dayton. Eric Reeser, I'm here. Jacob Reimer, also here. Trying to wipe away the tears from a UNC bow out in the round of 64.
You still see the tracks.
And Ohio State.
The tracks
and
of
also Ohio State.
The tracks of my lost tears.
Tim May with us as well. There's, of the remaining brackets that are perfect, 0.04% of all brackets that were filled out. This is from March Madness.
0.04.
0.04% of perfect brackets. And that feels par of the course. This is something you can't ever predict. You can't ever really
You
sit
should
there.
be able to.
No, well, has everybody ever had a perfect bracket?
I don't know.
I don't think there's been one. It's impossible to get one, I think. It's so hard to predict. It's insane.
No, that's what I meant by that was you should be able to, as in these these games should go more closer to chalk.
It should be more chalk
than whatever it was we saw yesterday.
And I think most of college basketball wants chalk as you get into the later rounds and closer to the Final Four in Indianapolis. I mean, the East is a beast. Like this region, they did Duke no favors. And again, nobody's going to be crying over the Duke Blue Devils. But the row that they will have to hoe to make it to Indy for that Final Four is going to be something. Because, boy, they did not look like the number one overall seed yesterday.
No, I was going to say, they matched them with Siena. They did them a favor putting them against Siena.
You thought.
Yeah.
And then you look at TCU and what the Horned Frogs were able to do yesterday and say, well, why can't they beat Duke on Saturday?
With their defense, I don't see a reason why not. And did you see Duke's center, Malik Brown, said at halftime, he was like we thought it was going to be a cakewalk, and we expected that, and here we go. And shout out to Siena because all 5 starters played the entire game. Like, that's impossible. Like, if they would have pulled off the upset, it would have been the greatest one there's ever been.
Yeah.
Outside of Michigan and Illinois, was anybody else? St. Louis, was it a cakewalk for anybody else but those 3 teams? Talk about a 9-8 matchup.
9-8. I mean, another 9-8. But the 12-5 came true once again. So. It's High Point. I've stayed in High Point before. I used to, when I worked at Pearson Furniture Company in Lufkin, Texas for a year and a half, I used to unload boxcars of furniture from High Point, which is the furniture capital of the world. I took a picture of their huge chest of drawers they have there that's like 3 stories high. That's pretty much what they were famous for until yesterday.
At High Point, they
that's a nice school, by the way, if you check it out.
They were one of the several coaches over the last couple weeks saying you got to play somebody.
Yeah.
This was Flynn Clayman after their 83-82 win over Wisconsin. Quote, "It looks obvious high majors need to play mid-majors during the season. They said we didn't play nobody would play us, just like they wouldn't play Miami, but they have to play us in the tournament."
Yeah. I mean, he's exactly right. I mean, this is the way you weight WEIGHT conferences based on a lot of the times of who they play and who they've beaten and stuff. It's unfair. And it's, I think they should take another look at it in a big time base. But the committee's all about pretty much you want to get the teams in there that people are going to watch.
You got to get interesting.
Yeah. And then you also got to reward. But yeah, that was a great example of there are a lot of teams that have guys that can shoot threes and get after you on defense. They don't have the 7-foot 2-inch guy that's going to stand there like a tree and block everything. But they on one shining night, one shining evening or afternoon, they can get it done. And boy, did Wisconsin find that out.
Well, that's the thing. Like to have upsets, you need teams that can just shoot the lights out too.
Right.
Like you don't need to be big. If it's just your night, it's your night, and that's what it was for High Point. And to his point, I feel like it would really benefit the high major teams that if they play a team like High Point, like a Miami, in the regular season, because you're then preparing yourself for these potential matchups in the tournament.
Yeah.
And so where you can match up well against them, you know what to expect, and it better suits you for when that time comes so you can avoid a big upset.
But your rating takes a hit if all of a sudden they rise up and beat you.
Yes,
in that game.
You're taking on that challenge.
That's always been the argument.
Exactly.
Of what's the benefit of doing this if you're in Ohio State? If you're one of those high major teams, we see no benefit in this.
Jeopardy is
I did think it was
real.
Chris Holtman when he was at Ohio State was asked about doing that, and I think he made the pivot towards games like Virginia, games like the CBS Sports Classic. Like that's what we're going to be focusing on for our non-conference, the North Carolinas, the Notre Dames, and some
resume
situations.
builders.
It's stuff that you look back on in March and be like, well, hey, we got that team in November, we got that team in December, and look, they just tore through their conference tournament. So there's a fun balance to all of this, but I love having these conversations. It's what makes this so wonderful. I did want to give some props to a wonderful friend of the program, Connor, for doing a lot of the legwork on this, and Chris. They set up a men's bracket challenge on ESPN. We got 255 entries before the bell at noon yesterday, and it'll be fun, I think, to follow along with all of this. I am very, very down on. I'm 48th of 255, so there's some work to do. But thanks to Connor and Chris for setting that up, and again, ESPN.
What was your method there? I mean, was it Gomer Pyle used to hit 2 fingers and whichever finger on the table, and whichever finger stung the most, that's the one he picked?
I've never had a good system for this. Actually, I got to make a correction. My bracket is down in the 100th place. Our nonsense bracket is 48th right now out of 255. And the nonsense bracket was we did the 4 quadrants with different criteria.
Yeah.
One of them was who would our dogs root for. One other was what market would we like to do the radio show in. Another was what school would we like to send our kids to. And we got Arizona out of that. That was the West region. And then I think the South region might have been whose coach's show we'd like to do. And that nonsense, those nonsensical criteria, those have helped us do better as a show than our individual bracket.
Whose coach's show did you lean toward?
I'm trying to remember that. It was. I'd have to go back and look, but
I'd like to do Calipari's.
Calipari's would be fun.
It's always interesting. The dude from High Point, I'd like to do his show. Does he even have a show?
Frank Martin from UMass. Travis Steele.
Yeah, Travis
would be
Steele.
A fun one just for this season. I mean, obviously Steele will probably be on to a high major program not too long.
The High Point coach could be on his way someplace too. Back-to-back 30-win seasons. I'm pretty sure.
Absolutely, that guy can coach. Isn't Steele like rumored to be maybe a leader for the Butler job? Am I wrong?
That was put out there. I don't. Yeah. I think it was. I don't. It's not real. I don't think. But I think
he's a good coach. I'll tell you that.
I wouldn't put it out of the possibilities, but just that rumor that was put out. I think it was just put out there for clicks.
He's an Indiana guy. He was at Xavier for 4 seasons before he took the job with Miami. But the Redhawks, one of 3 Ohio teams in action today in the round of 64. So the Redhawks have Tennessee and Philly at 425. Wright State's taking on Virginia in Philly at 150. And then Akron against Texas Tech at 1240. That's a 12-5 matchup in the Midwest region down in Tampa. So,
by the way, your man Bo. By the way, y'all need to come up with, I don't know who his agent is, but I call it PT Bo. That he gets. I mean, it's unbelievable. I would have to make that comment, and he would laugh at that, I'm sure. But he made a good comment the other day before signing off. It comes down to threes, man. A lot of, these first early games, if you're hitting the threes, you're going places. And just like with Miami, Miami's probably going to try 53s, don't you figure?
And they're going to have to shoot better than 50% or make 50% of those 53s.
We'll see.
To knock off Tennessee.
Just when I think they're outmatched, they figure out a way to make a play at the end.
The thing that worries me is Tennessee's physicality, because that's just the Rick Barnes style, is out physicaling teams. But the way Miami looked in that first 4 game, the way they spread you out, you're going to force Felix Okpara, Nate Emmett on the perimeter and just open everything up. And
get some cheapies.
I'm excited to see how that plays out today for sure.
Yeah, those back cuts. I mean, I'm very interested, like you are, to see what their plan will be, because their plan will include a lot of artillery, from the hinterlands. But yes, when you can get some cheapies, then you get a team like befuddled. And that's the funny thing about Ohio State. And yesterday was, man, there were some cheapies there.
It almost seemed like
they didn't notice it until second half, really.
Grant Hill and I forget who else was on the call were almost just begging Ohio State to take some of those cheapies that were available. And even me with my double-digit IQ, like single-digit basketball IQ, was like, it's available.
Yeah.
Just because
don't make it harder.
Your size is available to make it. I'd even wondered in the first half, like, what about Ivan Yagovin? And then they put Ivan Yagovin in, and I said, no, that's probably not the case. And good on Diebler for recognizing that early. You had mentioned threes. How about 6? That's what the Blue Jackets put on the Rangers last night. And now the CBJ are in a playoff spot. It's in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
At Newman Roofing, we believe every detail matters, which is why we have over 1,000 5-star Google reviews from families all across Central Ohio who have put their trust in Newman Roofing for their roofing, siding, and gutter projects. Call 614-NEW-ROOF or visit newmanroofing.com today.
Sex, intimacy, love. These 3 things are critical to a good relationship, and that's the problem with erectile dysfunction. It often destroys sexual enjoyment and intimacy. It stresses the love between partners, often to the breaking point. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and if you're suffering with ED, you likely know exactly what I'm talking about. But I also want you to know that ED doesn't have to impact your relationship anymore. At Tri-State Men's Health, we're ED experts, with our focus on men's sexual health. We've treated tens of thousands of men and have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. I promise you, if you're like most guys, you can get your sex life back, perhaps even performing like you haven't in years. So if ED is affecting you, it's time to get back to better sex, better intimacy, and deeper love. Call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
Hey, Columbus, big news. For a limited time, get Uber One free for a full year so you could save on food and rides. That's a $96 value on us. Just use code Columbus. Get 1 year of $0 delivery fees, 10% off eligible food and grocery orders, and up to 6% Uber One credits on rides. Sign up for this limited time offer today using code Columbus and save big with Uber One. Offer valid through 3/31/26. Savings and $0 delivery fee on eligible orders and rides only. Fees and terms apply. See app for details.
Hey folks, it's Austin Ward here. They say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So I'd like to thank Berm for seeing me lose 50 pounds with Awaken 180 and deciding to copy off my paper. It's no secret, the program works. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
What's up? What's up, man? What's up with you?
Here's what's up on a Friday. Your Columbus Blue Jackets. You say, where are they up to? Third in the Metropolitan Division. CBJ extended their point streak to 11 games last night. Tyvis Powell lit the cannon first, and the Jackets made that thing go off 6 more times en route to a 6-3 win over the Rangers. They've got 83 points thanks to that stretch.
It was a barrage. Is that what you're saying?
That is the way they've been playing. Like, that wasn't surprising to me, and that's surprising to me. Where I'm not surprised that the Jackets all of a sudden are putting 3 goals, scoring power play goals. You've got a line with Lundstrom, Jenner, and Danton Heinen, who are producing every single second they're out on the ice for this team. And it's since like January 11th with the Rick Bowness bump, this team has just been different. And the difference has put them again in that 3rd spot in the Metropolitan Division. It's hilarious that the Jackets' best path to the playoffs isn't through the wild card. It's through their own damn division.
Yeah.
But they got a lot of work to do because tomorrow it's the Seattle Kraken at Nationwide. And then on Sunday, the team that I think you're going to be doing a lot of jockeying with over these last 13, 14 games, the New York Islanders. They lose in Ottawa last night in regulation. Very important, so they don't pick up a point.
Yep.
But that game against the Isles in New York, Tim, is going to be huge. And this is one of those things where you can, at middle March, closing in on the end of March, I think spring's tomorrow, you're bringing along the casual fans to really turn this into a legitimate playoff push. And then once you get in the postseason, it's much like what the discussion we had about Ohio State. You make the tournament, you make your postseason, and then you kind of just throw logic out the window as a fan because you're like, they could do this. They could beat the Carolina Hurricanes. They could beat the Buffalo Sabres. Like, you can have all of these discussions because of the work that's been done now.
The rush to the bandwagon will be,
jump on.
We'll bring pandemonium.
There are plenty of seats.
No, you're exactly right. But it gives. I was just thinking about this yesterday, man. When I first moved up here in 1976, it was Ohio State football and Ohio State basketball, and that was it. And then the chill came along, but nobody. God,
I remember the chill.
That was just there. You went there to have a beer, but it was still something. But yeah, I mean, you think about how bummed out this city would be right now to have something to cheer for with Ohio State getting beat the way it, first round of the NCAA tournament, where the first real round of the NCAA tournament. Now all of a sudden you look around, the Blue Jackets not only are making a push right now, all they can do is blow it, because they're in it. And that's just so cool compared to 20 or 30 years ago. So, yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, I texted Aaron Portzline. The Blue Jackets played a game, I think it was one game before the Olympic break, and they looked so competent in that game.
Yep.
I mean, I texted Aaron Portzline about it. They looked like a team from line to line and on defense that was playing like a team and knew what it was doing, complimenting each other as in, hey, great shot. No, you know what I mean? Complimenting as in they were mixing and matching
the
extremely
complimentary
well.
hockey from the 4 lines up front and then your defensive pairings and even your goaltending.
It's called competent complimenting. And
I like that.
That's what exactly. And I just go, wow, this is different. This is different than the scramble you usually see, where you hope they get a streak together and stuff. This has been phenomenal the last month and a half, 2 months under bonus. I mean, you got to say that.
18-2-4. since taking over as bench boss for the Blue Jackets.
That will stand up anywhere against any kind of stiff wind.
That'll do it. Here's Bonus after the win talking about their playoff positioning.
Don't even think about it. Not until we see the X.
Yeah.
We have one thought, that's Seattle. Then we got to go to the island. The rest will take care of itself. You know, us coaches, we like cliches like process, right?
That's what it's all about.
He's so direct. It was Porty with the question.
Yeah.
He's so direct in that.
You're just hoping he'll say something.
As a human, you're taking a peek.
Oh, of course. Well,
you know where your points are.
Dude.
You know who's in front of you. He talked about the game and on the aisle.
It's what his job. It's what his job's all about. It's what the team is all about. Is making the playoffs and then winning the playoffs. So of course you know where you stand from moment to moment, and you're rooting for yourself and you're rooting against other teams all at the same time, which is an interesting phenomenon, really, when you think
That's
about
a hell
it.
of a spot.
Yeah, but now you're that team. You're that team that's in and can only lose its way out. If you follow my drift.
If they go on and make the playoffs, would it be too late in the season for Bonus to be in Coach of the Year considerations?
No, he's in it right now.
Oh, he's in it.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah, this is phenomenal.
Don Waddell's in consideration for Executive of the Year. I'm really interested to see what happens in terms of conversations had at the end of the season.
Yeah.
With what Bonus wants to do, because he was on a fishing boat at the beginning of January, and he got a phone call from a buddy. And he thought, well, we just might be shooting the blank. And there's a job offer in front of him, and then he's in Columbus a couple days later. And this is one of the turnarounds of all time of this 25-year-old franchise.
Did you see the video shot of his buddies who were in the crowd the other night in Miami?
You mean Bonus's buddies?
Yeah, Bonus's buddies.
His fishing
Was that
buddies.
Miami or Tampa? I can't remember where they were, but yeah, they were there for the game, and it looked like a foursome I'd get put in, if I just showed up at a golf course where you play with these other seniors, and good luck. But no, he was enjoying the high life, man. I don't blame him. I retired a long time ago, but I'm still hanging out.
I don't think you're ever going to retire, truly.
Yeah, but this is a whole lot different than guiding a hockey team. But it is funny how you finally find that guy, almost by hook and crook, that can hit the right buttons. What I've always said about Urban Meyer, for example, his true claim to fame or ability was finding people's buttons and pushing them.
Yep.
And Bonus, you can tell he does that. I mean, he looks like he takes no quarter. Now you're dealing with professional. Well, I guess in college football you're dealing with professional guys now too. But he takes no quarter from these guys. You can tell it, and nothing's ever quite good enough. That was the way it was with Urban until they won a national championship. It's never quite good enough because you can always get better today. If you don't get better today, you're getting worse. Is the philosophy, and you can see this team, man. I just like, especially defensively, what a turnaround in front of the goalie. I mean,
to your point about Bonus, talking about they put 6 goals on the Rangers, and he still thinks there's more to be had.
They're a hard game to play. They're out of the playoffs, and they've got a lot of speed, and they've got a lot of skill, and they're just playing loose hockey. And those are very tough games to play. So no, that wasn't our best. But when you can say that and say you still won the game, that's pretty good. So, yeah, we'll just get ready for Saturday now.
You get a ton of luck, but you have to make your own luck.
Yeah, but you also have to remember that team coming back on you like they did, and they are quite capable, and you're quite capable of falling apart for a while. So he's exactly right. That's what I said. You keep pushing those buttons, man. Hey, nothing's a given here, especially with the playoffs on the line. But man, just some of the guys that are stepping up now, like Fantilli. Well, he's always kind of been stepping up, but Sillinger. These guys are just like making plays and at exactly the right times to stem the tides. And I love listening to the radio broadcast because the play-by-play guy,
Bob McElligott.
Yeah, I think he does a real job of what I call the crescendo.
Yeah,
a lot of the great hockey play-by-play guys where he is like talking in a play and his voice is starting to rise and he can see what's coming on and then all of a sudden go. I mean, he does a really good, because we all know hockey is haphazard.
Yes.
It's not like a football play.
A lot of times where there's,
but you can sense it, and he does a really, in my opinion, a great job of that.
Yeah, for the buttons that are pressed, the additions that have been made to this team. I mean, Connor Garland's been great since they acquired him at the trade deadline.
Yes.
He made it a 2-1 game. He shot a puck and it bounced off the head of a Rangers defenseman, and you go, all right, things are just working.
I
for the Blue Jackets. Right, exactly how we drew it up on the board, exactly how we practiced it, and for them, it just building.
It's really fun because my two grandsons, I love them to death. My 4-year-old grandson.
Are they into the puck?
Charlie. Oh, yeah, Charlie. Charlie wanted goalie gear for Christmas, but he really liked shooting from the point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But this little kid, we talked about this one on a show I was on before, just about how, the sheets of ice, there were like 3 sheets of ice in Central Ohio when I first moved up here. Now it's like the ice age again, and then they need more, right? But just these little kids that are really, what a moment in his life, and my older grandson, to see the Blue Jackets playing like they're playing right now, because they're big fans. They didn't grow up without hockey like I did, and but the bottom line is the way he can shoot a puck now, the little fake pucks, but he can go a 5-hole, he can go left center, whatever you call it, left corner, right corner, etc. And I'm just going, every little kid is not aspiring to be that. But he loves the Blue Jackets.
That's the kind of run that this team can bring everybody on.
Yes.
As you got 14 games left to go, the Seattle Kraken will wrap your 3-game homestand tomorrow at 5 o'clock. We'll have pregame coverage on the Fan at 4:30. And then you've got the New York Islanders. Like Rick Bowness said, that game's on the island. That'll be Sunday night at 7 o'clock. Then CBJ next week will be at the Philadelphia Flyers. So a lot of points back and forth for teams that are going to be jockeying in the Metropolitan Division over the next couple of weeks. We had mentioned the basketball Buckeyes and them bowing out of the NCAA tournament. A tremendous opportunity in Columbus for Kevin McGuff this weekend. We'll discuss that next. It's Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
At Babs R Us, we believe home improvement is life improvement. As the Midwest's fastest growing 5-star bathroom remodeler, we're more than just transformations. We're a community driven by a mission to bring your dreams to life. Our installation team, part of the Babs R Us community, isn't just skilled. They're dedicated to respecting your home. Each day, they bring craftsmanship and hustle, turning your dream space, no matter the size, into reality. Together, we embrace a culture that values diversity, collaboration, and giving back. From supporting local projects to fostering a workplace where every voice is valued. Babs R Us is more than a company. It's a community of experts. We're also expanding locations to create more possibilities for homeowners across the Midwest. Wherever you are, you'll find us ready to turn your dreams into something you can see, feel, and enjoy every day. Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement, or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel. Plus, low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BAB to schedule your free estimate, or go to babsrus.com. Babs R Us, where dreams soak in.
Hey, it's Matty Ice. March is here. McDaniel GM Superstore in Marion is rolling out 26 Chevy Silverado 1500s with below supplier pricing for everyone. That means savings up to $12,000 off MSRP, or lease a brand new Silverado for $279 a month for 24 months with $3,998 due at signing. Rules and restrictions apply. See dealer for details. The McDaniel GM Superstore has been family owned for over 100 years. They're just off Route 23095 in Marion, or visit McDanielGMSuperstore.com. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
Looking to level up your backyard or game room? Head to Billiards Plus in Dublin. From premium grills that turn every cookout into a feast to stunning pool tables and shuffleboard tables that bring the fun home, they've got everything you need to play in style. And don't forget their authentic pizza ovens, perfect for crafting restaurant quality pies right in your backyard. Proud presenting sponsor of 97.1 The Fan's Pizza Madness. Billiards Plus is where great games and great food come together. Family owned and operated since they opened. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
It's Common Man and Timmy for our friends at Hollywood Casino.
Oh, it's a big month, Common Man.
Why?
Because there's lots of basketball to watch and lots of cash to win.
That's right. If you're watching hoops, you can reserve your spot at HollywoodColumbus.com. And some of the packages come with $300 in dining credits.
And this month you could win $1 million instantly. Is that your final answer? Plus, there's multiple ways to score big cash prizes weekly.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Hey, basketball.
Coffee, iced cap, refreshers. Tim Hortons has all your favorite beverages. And now you can get your favorite bite for less. When you buy any size beverage, add a baked daily donut for $1, a tasty bagel for $2, or a freshly cracked hot breakfast sandwich for just $3. So next time you order your favorite Tim's beverage, Add something that satisfies your cravings and your wallet. The $1, $2, $3 menu. Only at your neighborhood Tim Hortons. At participating U.S. restaurants, must ask for offer in restaurant. Tax extra exclusions and terms apply.
All your favorite fan shows are on YouTube, along with those fake YouTube ads like Chew This Gum and It Grows New Teeth. Experience the splendor of Bo sitting in his closet, Timmy Hall's gouty gold chains, and Matty Ice wearing a coat in 90-degree weather. It's all there. Head to YouTube and subscribe today.
Raise your hand if you're excited about feeling older faster than you should. No takers? Yeah, I didn't think so. Ongoing pain makes you feel older than you are, but here's the good news. QC Kinetics patients right here in Columbus, they're getting relief right now, feeling younger and jumping back into life, full speed ahead. And that didn't happen in an operating room. My friend Dr. Ray Tesner and his team use the latest regenerative treatments backed by real science. Treatments that take the tiny, powerful healing tools inside your body, concentrate them right where you need the relief the most. This is how I was treated. I had a knee issue. I went in there. We had a consultation. I went through a series of treatments. And you know what? After a handful of months, my knee started feeling better and better until I was able to get out there and do the things I loved again. It's all true. It's all real. The sooner you get started, the sooner your inflammation eases and the sooner you'll start feeling better again. So find out if you're a candidate at your free consultation at qckinetics.com/Columbus or 380-208-4544.
The Fan Poll is sponsored by JT's Pizza and Pub, home of award-winning pizza and 32-ounce Yingling drafts for only $4. Pull up a stool and ask the bartender for something neat, because Uncle Bo is on the radio. This is Bishop and Friends.
Yes, it is. Bo's on spring break. Eric Reeser, Tim May, Jacob Reimer with you for the next 3 hours, well, at least until noon today. The madness is here for Ohio State women's basketball. The Buckeyes face Howard tomorrow in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Coverage begins at 11:15 live on The Fan. Chasing the championship presented by Logan Services, a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. You're going to hear Tyler Danberg tomorrow morning at 11:15, which is awesome for the basketball Buckeyes, awesome for Kevin McGuff and company, but extra awesome for myself and Jeff Thidoff. The Saturday Spectacular at 9 to 11:15 will be your pregame show. And then Tyler Danberg hits the air at 11:15.
Wow. Are you guys on location or are you just
No, we'll be here.
Emanate from here so you have the horde, the crowds and everybody around you?
Well, that's the thing. You know, we when we travel, Tito and I, everybody wants to see us. And so we have to kind of, out of respect for the basketball Buckeyes, we're going to do it here so that they can get the attention over at the Schottenstein Center. I do like what the women's basketball tournament does and where the top seeds get to host.
Amen.
Because that's an awesome opportunity not only tomorrow, but on Monday, if you get a potential Ohio State-Notre Dame matchup at the Schottenstein Center, like that for spring break for a lot of schools, a lot of opportunity for people all over the city to come and just watch what's going to be high-quality basketball.
Yeah, and Notre Dame will have fans. I mean, we'll have a huge number of fans here, too. You're exactly right. I mean, I'm curious about this team because I want to, they kind of had that, would you call it a swoon, a late regular season swoon a little bit and kind of got their act back together. And because they've got some players, they play defense, as we well know. It's almost like, the Nolan Richardson 40 minutes of hell.
That's what they try to do.
Exactly. But everybody's got to be clicking, so to speak. But I like this team. I think it can go places.
Yeah, I think they dropped at one point 3 of 4, and then in the Big Ten tournament, they fell to eventual Big Ten champion UCLA. And it does feel like it's UConn, UCLA, and then maybe a chasm between other contenders for the national championship. You get Buckeyes and Howard tomorrow at 11:15 again right here on The Fan. And that potential Monday matchup, TBD. You do know for Ohio State and for the men's basketball team, it is now on to the 2026 season. It's an unfortunate end in the great career of Bruce Thornton. And I think the biggest question mark from yesterday is with 4 seconds left to go and you call a timeout, was that what you wanted to draw up, where Thornton inbounds it to Christoph Tilley, who hands it off to Bruce Thornton, and then he's never going to win any track meets, Bruce Thornton. He's running, and it doesn't feel like there's a sense of urgency. And he takes maybe one step over the midcourt line and heaves something that you never thought, even when it was leaving his hands, there was a shot that thing was going to make. And
I thought I liked the play if it had been executed the way I had it in my head. Was Tilley would have been more at half court than where he ended up, and then the ball would have immediately, you catch it, and the ball immediately either goes back to Thornton, who's sprinting up the left sideline, which he was moving okay. But, I think it was Devin Royal had 10 feet on the guy in the left side, left flank, left corner, whatever you want to call it. And there was never a look, for that. And whether there was time, you go back and replay it. I replayed it a few times. Not the way the play was executed was there time, but there would have been, and that to me is unfortunate. I would have wanted to at least go down with what I call a quality shot, and I think everybody jumped on that wagon, but why wouldn't you? Because that's what you're looking for. You got 4 seconds. Like I always say, the Duke play with Leitner, Grant Hill to Leitner, well, they just lucked out because Kentucky didn't put anybody on the inbounder.
Right.
And Hill threw a strike to Leitner at the top of the key, you know what I mean? Or on the opposite end. Mm-hmm. And so but there was a little over 2 seconds left on that, and Leitner had time to make a move, go up and make the shot. The point is, there's more time there than you think there is.
Oh, 4 seconds is enough.
But when you basically determined that Bruce is going to take your shot, then he should not have been the inbound guy, in my opinion. It should have been an inbound to Tilly, half court, and then hit Thornton somewhere on the move, and then you got options.
And only something that'll play back and forth in the minds of Bruce Thornton and Jake Diebler forever for Thornton, for at least the next year for Diebler. Here's Ohio State's head coach on that final play.
We got the ball to Bruce on the run, and we had 2 outlets down the floor for a throw ahead. I was watching him with the ball, so it was hard to see if those guys were open or not. I thought TCU corralled the ball well, and maybe that limited his ability to get the ball down the floor. But we were trying to get it to him on the run and give him freedom to make a decision, and had a couple outlets again down the floor to, if he felt like he could get it to them, we wanted to get it to them to either get a look or, if we could get up there quick enough, we use a timeout to set up in the half court.
And an inbound end of half play continuing kind of be the bane for this Ohio State team. And I wonder,
he saw the same thing I just pointed out.
He did.
There were opportunities.
There were. You just didn't execute. But I also go back to that shouldn't have been the play drawn up.
No, Thornton shouldn't, in my opinion, should not have been the inbounder, is where it had faults, because you want to get the ball as far down the court as possible.
You have 4 seconds, but you've only got 4 seconds.
but 4 seconds is in men's basketball.
It's an eternity.
It's a long time.
The thing for me is everybody in that building, and I feel like all of us knew that Bruce Thornton, no matter what, was going to try to get that last shot up.
Yes.
And I'm with you. I would have rather have liked to seen him maybe start at half court and somebody come up and set a screen for him and he catches it around the free throw line and then he's already on the move.
Correct.
Like Evan Turner, his shot, he got it in 2 dribbles. Took 2 dribbles to get inside a half court. And I know it was a bad defensive play from Michigan not putting anybody on the ball or on Evan Turner.
Yeah.
But to TCU's credit, they defended that well. Yeah. They knew Bruce Thornton was going to get the ball, and Tilly handed it back off to Bruce. And then you have Tilly's man and Bruce's man right there. You're just going to, with how much time's left, it was the smart play from those guys to just come and attack Bruce and not make it an easy shot.
But that's what you have to factor in.
Yeah.
Is they know, Jeremiah Smith, he's getting the ball. Wait, Notre Dame? Notre Dame leaves him man-to-man with a freshman cornerback? Are you kidding me?
Here's Ohio State's senior captain after the game on that final shot.
We just needed a 3 during that time. And after that, you're really trying to get stops. But we just didn't get the stop that we needed. And it was hard with the time, with the full court shot with 4 seconds left. So it's just hard. But like I said, the deficit at halftime really put us in the hole. So especially as a good team, it's just hard.
Yeah, when you're playing a team like TCU that's going to put on the full court clamps, making 2 threes in the first half isn't going to get it. And really against anybody of measure.
Yeah, but
you go 6 of 23 from the 3-point line when your bread and butter over the best stretch that you have played as a team all season. You have been so much better than that from the 3-point line.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter kind of what defense that team plays if the shots aren't falling.
I like what they did.
We're just talking about getting a quality shot.
Yeah. I mentioned earlier, I like what they did out of the half to get Mobley going because you knew that they were overplaying. So give him a back door to get something in the hoop and to kind of get him into a rhythm. But why not do that after a media timeout in the first half to then get him into that rhythm and get him going early and then deeper into the second half? And you may not have been down as much at halftime.
Yeah, bingo. That's it in a nutshell. You don't need to like Matt Patricia in football, where you have the little blue tablets you can look at and stuff you can see in basketball, what's going on. And that was a Jamie Dixon that I give it up to.
A hell of a job out of him.
I go back to that shock and awe. You want that other team. It's kind of like Jim Stillwagon used to hit the opposing center, right in the chin on the first play or up against his ear hole on his helmet on the first snap of a game to let him know he's going to be there all day, And I thought TCU did a great job of the shock and awe in the first part of the first half of knowing, hey, we're going to pick you up at half court and we're going to press you like a laundromat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's exactly what they did. I was going to say a laundry.
Well, and they're blitzing Bruce Thornton on ball screens every time. So, that's another thing where you need guys like John Moby Jr. and Amari Bynum to get going early.
Yeah.
And it was just too late then in the second half.
Your guy, your career all-time leading scorer of your school is not going to beat us today. That was the message they sent.
100%.
For the Horned Frogs, it's the thrill of victory. For the basketball Buckeyes, the agony of defeat. Opportunity, though, will be the motto for March. We'll discuss that next. Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
The Big Nine was a sad, incomplete place. Enter Ohio State. The rest is history. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
Men, we all know how important sex is in a relationship, both for you and your partner. But erectile dysfunction ruins sex, which can often have serious impacts on your relationship as well. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And if ED is a problem in your life, you understand the impacts it has on you and the one you love. But I'm here to tell you that ED is a treatable condition, and almost without exception, you can have really good sex again. At Tri-State Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. We've treated tens of thousands of men with protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means if you're like most guys, good sex will be the norm. You could even last up to an hour or more and bring a level of intimacy for you and your partner that might just astound you both. It's time to have really good sex again, so call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices in the tri-state area to serve you.
Camping World is now open in Sunbury. The celebration starts now, and you're invited. Join us from March 19th to the 22nd for our grand opening block party with special pricing on a huge selection of new and used RVs. Enjoy free food, fun on-site activities, and exciting giveaways. Plus, enter for a chance to win a brand new RV. As part of America's #1 RV network, Camping World brings you more value and more ways to enjoy life on the road. Don't miss the grand opening block party at Camping World in Sunbury. We'll see you there.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-791-0000. That's 800-791-0000.
President Trump has shown you are safer when strong leaders stand with law enforcement. That's why, as governor, Vivek Ramaswamy will partner with police to uphold our laws, keep dangerous criminals behind bars, and protect your family. Law enforcement knows Vivek has their back. That's why 65 Ohio sheriffs endorsed him, including Sheriff Stephen Lavorchek.
Safe streets don't just happen. They happen when criminals know tough leaders are in charge. Ohio law enforcement supports Vivek Ramaswamy because, like President Trump, Vivek supports us. Vivek will empower police to arrest violent criminals quickly and decisively, putting trained resource officers in every school and restoring law and order statewide, so our families feel secure in our homes and communities. Vivek's proudly endorsed by President Trump and Ohio law enforcement. Join us in supporting Vivek Ramaswamy.
Lower costs, bigger paychecks, better schools. Vivek Ramaswamy for governor.
Paid for by Vivek Ramaswamy and Rob McCauley for Ohio.
Why does it matter to members that Aetna was named a Best Medicare Advantage Company by U.S. News & World Report? because they chose a plan that gives them real support, real people, and real care. We show up on calls with members and doctors' offices when needed. We show up with access to convenient care options and coverage that fits everyday life. We don't show up for awards. We show up for you. And showing up for you is how healthier happens together.
I love Right Pack Credit Union because they're solution driven.
I feel valued as a member. They're focused on the latest technology and the personal connections.
Experience benefits that go beyond banking with Right Pack Credit Union. Just ask our actual members.
I definitely recommend Right Pack to all my family and friends as a credit union of choice.
Visit one of our Columbus area Right Pack Credit Union member centers near you. Based on individual members' experiences, results may vary.
Your mornings are jam-packed. So if you're going to add anything, make it your favorite bite from Tim Hortons. Buy any size beverage and add a daily baked donut for $1, a tasty bagel for $2, or a freshly cracked hot breakfast sandwich for just $3. It's the best way to add more to your morning. The 1-2-3 menu, only at your neighborhood Tim Hortons. At participating U.S. restaurants, must ask for offer in restaurant. Tax extra. Exclusions and terms apply at timhortons.com/offer-terms.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios. Driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The basketball Buckeyes were bounced from the big dance. Ohio State lost to TCU 86-84 on Thursday. 3 Ohio teams remain in the round of 64. Miami, Wright State, and Akron as that thins to 32. Wisconsin, the 5 seed in the West, was bounced yesterday in a loss to High Point 83-82. The NCAA women's tournament continues today. Ohio State hosts Howard tomorrow at 11:30 in their first round game. You can hear it on the Fan with coverage at 11:15. Winner gets Notre Dame or Fairfield Monday at the Shot. On the ice last night at Nationwide, the Blue Jackets extended their point streak to 11 straight with a 6-3 win over the Rangers. Adam Fantilli had a pair of goals in the victory. It puts the Blue Jackets in third place in the Metropolitan Division. Jackets jumped the Islanders after New York lost in Ottawa. Columbus will wrap a 3-game homestand tomorrow night against the Kraken, then play the Islanders on Sunday. This update is sponsored by High Bank Distillery Co., locally inspired dishes and award-winning cocktails. Visit highbankco.com to make your reservation.
Keep your friends close and your producers closer. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Yes, you are. Day 2 of the madness. Eric Reeser, Tim May, Jacob Reimer with you until noon. We'll have Doug Lesmerises on at 11:30, as we do every Friday. He'll give us his thoughts on the basketball Buckeyes yesterday in that loss to TCU. And then looking forward, as Ohio State resumes spring football practice next week, a busy week for Ryan Day and company at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. I think you have practices Tuesday and Thursday, but Tim, you've also got their pro day coming up on Wednesday, which I'm sure the eyes, the ears, the feet, the boots of the NFL are going to be on the ground in Columbus.
Yeah, it's very interesting because this has turned into, well, we always knew it was going to be sort of like this, but it's turned into a really ground zero for a lot of these NFL teams. And from the standpoint of, can I get this guy? Is this guy going to fall to me? You know, or am I gonna have to move up? You know the rumors about Caleb Downs is deteriorating or whatever they call it.
His knee's falling off is what I'm hearing. Yeah.
Meanwhile, go back and watch the video, ladies and gentlemen. If his knee's falling off, wow, look out.
That's a one-legged man who would win an ass-kicking contest.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see what Sonny Styles does, because what could Sonny Styles do except hurt himself, you know, in the workouts? Lorenzo Styles Jr. saw what his dad tweeted, or maybe it was his mom. You never know what's coming from that one tweet place. By the way, congratulations to Lorenzo Styles Sr. getting back into coaching in a big way with becoming an analyst for Eddie George.
He's on Eddie George's Bowling Green staff.
Former teammate, now at Ohio State, now on his staff. Good for him. But
will he be on the traveling, I guess?
It depends on how they operate.
When they come to Columbus in the fall?
There's a good chance,
Pretty cool opportunity.
What's really funny is going to be USF playing at Bowling Green. Was that third or fourth week in September?
I want to say it's the third week in September.
Yeah, Brian Hartline versus Eddie George. But
I'm all for those kinds of matchups.
Yeah, absolutely. Too bad they can't actually play those two guys. But the bottom line is, you know, they claim Lorenzo Styles Jr. could have actually high jumped, vertical leap, basically as high as his brother did.
I buy that.
Except he was using the other arm because he He had shoulder problems. Everybody could see that as many times as he was escorted off the field this year. But so there could be maybe a surprise there if he feels good about sticking the other arm up. I'll never forget, man, Mike Vrabel, when he was first got into coaching, there was the one hire that Luke Fickell got to make. And I remember watching, that was when we could watch practice a little bit more, and him showing defensive linemen on Ohio State, when you stick your arm up, you don't just stick your arm up, you rotate your shoulders and stick your arm up, because that makes you another 6 to 8 inches higher with your hand. And it just stuck with me, and it reminded me, popped in my mind when Lorenzo Styles Jr. could have high jumped or vertical leaped higher than he did. I go, yeah, because that's the arm you really go for it with. But yeah, that's the little detail stuff that they start looking for. But I'm just curious to see if Jeremiah Smith catches passes in this workout, because he didn't last year.
Yeah, it's definitely one of, if not the storyline.
No,
I mean,
yeah, it won't be the storyline.
Is Julian Sane, will he be out there throwing? Like, who's going to be throwing to some of these guys? Like, is Carnell Tate going to participate?
I would think Sane will be throwing. I mean, you would think.
It's a good look for 2027.
Right, but we all remember when Troy Smith came out of retirement to throw in that thing. Next thing you know, all these scouts were talking to him after the workout. So that was pretty cool,
a good
man.
problem. I think it's a good thing when that happens, though.
Oh, that's a good thing for Troy.
Opportunity for everybody, not just the guys that will be, I guess, the guys that want to hear their names called at the end of April.
Yeah.
In Pittsburgh.
But Caden McDonald, for example, I think that's, how much he'll work out or not, but there's a guy I've really got my eye on, because he could really make it another first round to remember for Ohio State, if he goes in the first round.
Yeah, for some of these guys, it's like, what would doing anything on Wednesday really benefit you with how you performed on the tape and how you performed at the scouting combine?
You don't get to talk to these guys as often as you would like, but I would like to know whether maybe Carnell Tate might run the 40 again.
Yeah, it's certainly. I think he was the slowest person in the world at the NFL's combine.
But supposedly coaches and team personnel had him running much faster than the electronic. I go, how can that be?
This
is what's funny about these combine things, Reeser, is that everybody's sitting there with their own stopwatch, even though there's an electronic timing also going on, because nobody trusts anybody,
Right.
Well, I time it better than he does, so. I don't know. It's pretty funny. All I say is turn on the video.
Just watch the tape with some of these guys.
Carnell Tate getting separation, running great routes, getting separation, and making the play at the top of it.
And as a Browns fan, I know we're doing, mock draft 3.0, 4.0. If he's there at 6, just keep it simple and take him.
Yes.
I understand the need for tackle. You'll find a fine enough tackle, I think, at 24.
Yeah.
If you're Cleveland and Carnell Tate's staring at you at 6, just take him.
You need weapons.
You need to have a weapon.
But you do need a launching pad, too, though. So they're kind of between a rock and a hard place.
Right. I think it makes it a little easier if you just take the wide receiver. You help what your quarterback evaluation could be if the guys you're throwing to are that much better.
And if the guy's going to be Shador, like you want him to have somebody that he can build a connection with. Like if you're looking at all these other teams that have young quarterbacks, they also have a stud wide receiver, or just some of the elite teams.
Yeah.
They usually have stud wide receivers.
There's a but there, though, a big but, not Kardashian, but close. He's got to have time to stand there and find that guy.
It's the argument as old as time. We've seen Joe Burrow. We've seen Jamar Chase argument.
We've seen Joe Burrow get beaten up. Here's the thing. If you've got time, there are a lot of receivers that can get open and catch the ball.
That's true. You're going to hear a lot of Denzel Boston, I think, to Cleveland at 24.
Yeah.
I know that's been one of the sexier things to do if the Browns, because I think it was maybe Marioga or Fano off the board early, and then Cleveland in a panic would take a tackle to make sure they got one of their guys. You don't. April 23rd in Pittsburgh is going to be a lot of fun for psychos who love the draft.
Well, Bill Belichick, remember his first draft with the Browns, and they weren't prepared. It was the tight end from Penn State. They got, but I think the Jets took him ahead of them.
And they were not prepared for a backup.
And they lost their pick there. they had to pass, so to speak.
Only Brownsian things. I mean, this is the Super Bowl for Cleveland.
Yeah, you got to.
The 23rd, baby.
When it comes to the draft, for that first round, you better have a pair and a spare ready, man.
You've got the NCAA round of 64 wrapping up. As you heard in the update, you got 3 Ohio teams are going to be in action this afternoon, 2 of them in Philadelphia. I'm really curious to see how Miami battles Tennessee, because it does feel like with what Tennessee's got in size and can make up with physicality, that's going to be for Miami. You're going to jack up 50 threes, and you better hope 50% of those threes fall. That's going to be the 425 game in Philadelphia. At 150, Wright State's taking on Virginia. Both of those games will be on TBS. At 1240, you'll have Akron taking on Texas Tech.
I'll tell you where Miami's really good, by the way, is getting their shooters open. I mean,
they do such a good job of just moving the ball
shooters,
around.
But you still got to have shooters shooting without somebody just breathing down their neck. And I was very impressed the other night with how they got guys open at the right times.
Yeah,
and,
one of things.
Yeah, and then they converted and just, cold-blooded. Some of their shooting.
Just so much confidence at any time they touch the ball. Yeah. And one of the things, I kept yelling at Ohio State, just you move. You got to move. And that's been.
Don't just hold your hand up.
The inbounds, the final end of half games, just so many things. You're like, guys, we need to do. You knew if you were going to play a team like TCU that those are going to have to be cleaned up. Unfortunately,
you got to be a band on the run, man. You got to be a band on the run.
They weren't yesterday, and I just want to shout out everybody in our YouTube chat for the constant conversation. Of course, in a post-mortem show like you do today, it's full of a lot of disappointment.
Well, the potential was there.
Anger. There was, and Huckleberry has a great comment on just the madness of this. And we went as an Ohio State fan base from "Bring on Duke" to "God, we suck" real fast. And yeah. Because yesterday, Tim, that's what we were doing.
Well, here's the thing.
That's what hope does to you.
Yeah. You never want to look like the moment is too big for you. I mean, you never want to look like that. And at key moments, the moment was too big for him from a plan standpoint or from an execution standpoint. Like you and I talked about during the break, we should have had that on the air. I mean, I would love to have seen Amari Bynum just given the ball 5 or 7 more times and go do something with it. Kind of approach, because he was a mismatch for them. Tilly was a mismatch for them. Tilly didn't really execute in the beginning of the game.
Tilly was disappointing.
Like you would have, because he had an advantage from just a pure height standpoint, against that team. And so they let that team's best player punch, aptly named, by the way.
Was very appropriate.
Or left hook, you could have called him, kind of take over the game on certain occasions when, in fact, they were a band of short brothers and should have been treated that way. But the idea that I'm just befuddled about.
It's a good word for what happened yesterday.
The adjustment at the beginning, but then they did adjust.
They did.
It came from 15 back and took the lead.
Took the lead in that game, and that's where you thought as you were pacing your living room like I was, or maybe you're on the edge of your seat going, they can get this done.
I was throwing passes to my older grandson in our.
You were having a catch in the family room.
And we had one vase get knocked over.
Ohio State, one of 2 Big Ten teams, dismissed yesterday. You also had Wisconsin. They were a 5-12 victim to High Point, 83-82 from the Panthers there. Nebraska, for the first time all time, the Cornhuskers won an NCAA tournament game.
That was impressive.
And they crushed Troy.
Yeah.
76-47. Kent Pavelka is the longtime radio voice of Husker Hoops. 41 years he's called, and they've never had an NCAA tournament win. Now, they won the college basketball crown yesterday, but I wanted to play this real quick of Pavelka in the closing seconds from yesterday's win over Troy.
76-47. This place is going to erupt. It's going to absolutely erupt. And here they dribble it out. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second left to go. And there's the horn. There's the game. Nebraska's first NCAA win in history in Oklahoma City over the Troy Trojans. It's all over. It's all over. All the years going home from conference tournaments, sitting in front of the television, and the ache in the pit of your stomach, wishing you could be there. And then getting to the NCAA once in a while and not winning. All that's history now.
He got so emotional there. 41 years of doing that.
Yeah, and he had a whole half to think of what he was going to say, too.
Well,
because that's the dream.
There's preparing for it.
Yeah.
And then when the moment happens, you're so overcome with emotion that you don't know what to do with your hands.
Yes.
The Huskers do have Vanderbilt tomorrow at 8:45. That game will be played in Oklahoma City. Nebraska, the 4 seed in the South. Vanderbilt, the 5 seed in the South. So we talked about some opportunity. Great opportunity for the Buckeyes on the ice this weekend. That's next. It's Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
Hey, it's Matty Ice. It's Marathon Mania at McDaniel GM Superstore this Saturday, March 21st. I'll be there 10 a.m. to noon. And check this out. Select new and used vehicles are priced at invoice. Incredible deals going on, folks. McDaniel GM Superstore just off Route 2395 in Marion. Chevrolet. Together. Let's drive.
Bacon, sausage, egg, cheese, made from scratch biscuits, fresh baked croissants, cinnamon swirl French toast. Hungry? Grab a hot UDF breakfast sandwich made in store for your morning. UDF, mornings made for you.
Don't let a failing sump pump put your home at risk. Right now, get $80 off sump pump replacement with Logan Services. Protect your basement from flooding and get the peace of mind you deserve. Call now. Fast, friendly service, Logan Services.
Remember your first football game? The sound of the crowd, the smell of the grill, the moment you fell in love with the game. This spring break, pass that moment on. At the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, families walk through the greatest moments in football history and create new memories of their own. See the legends, experience the history, share the game you love. Make the Hall of Fame part of your spring break road trip. Plan your visit today at ProFootballHof.com.
It's never a bad time to fire up the grill. At Billiards Plus, the grilling season never ends. While you're grill shopping, you'll love browsing Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
He's a husband, a dad, owner of a gym. He's also a police officer. Staying strong and pain-free isn't optional. It's safety. That's why David Boardman's a QC Kinetics patient.
My job is dependent on my physical ability and my physical fitness so that I can protect myself, so that I can go home safe to my family at the end of the night.
But severe knee pain nearly took that away. Doctors said surgery, shut down the workouts. David needed another option. That was QC Kinetics. They told him,
we're going to give you the opportunity to have not one, but 2 healthy knees, and we don't have to cut you open.
They used David's own healing tools in his blood to help restore his knees. Regenerative treatments right in the office.
Since I've gone to them, I run 20, 30 miles a week.
Trust the team helping active people avoid surgery. Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
Things people don't believe in. Little green aliens. Bigfoot. And that Spectrum TV combines all your favorite streaming apps with live TV at no extra cost. But that one is actually true. You get over $100 worth of streaming apps like HBO Max, Hulu, Paramount Plus, Peacock, AMC Plus, and more, included with live TV at no extra cost. It's only the way TV should be. It's only everything. Learn more at SpectrumTV.com.
Your favorite fan shows are available as a podcast. What a concept. And don't miss exclusive podcast content like Austin and Byrne. Listen on your schedule from anywhere in the world. Available wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, commercial properties. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Flexible, secure, fun. Oh, and great pay, too. Are you not sure what you want to do for a career? Or are you thinking of changing careers? Being a dental hygienist or dental assistant may be the perfect fit for you and provides all of these perks, plus more. Talk with a dentist in your community or visit ODA.org to learn more. Become a valuable member of the dental team and start helping people love their smile. This message is brought to you by the members of the Ohio Dental Association.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Mostly cloudy skies today and warm and windy as daytime highs soar into the upper 60s to even low 70s. Could see a chance of showers and thunderstorms late afternoon into the evening, but it will be more isolated in nature. For tonight, mostly cloudy overnight with lows in the 40s. And then for Saturday, a dry day with sunshine throughout the afternoon. Highs getting in the mid to upper 60s. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
The two most mature people working at the radio station. And that's just because they wear pants.
The pervert and the skivvies.
Rockman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan. They've all been paid by the Cleveland Browns. This is Bishop and Friends.
Yeah, true story. Eric Reeser, Tim May, Jacob Reimer. One of these three has been paid by the Cleveland Browns. In a previous radio life, I was, I guess, tangentially? I don't know if that's the proper word for it, but I was a producer on the Browns radio network, but the Browns paid the affiliate. So I got paid by them through my employer.
Yeah.
Same with Ryan Baker, who has set up Tyvis. He's gotten paid.
In other words, they laundered the money.
Yeah, it was laundered through what was then CBS Radio Cleveland.
Gotcha.
So the three of us, yes, have cut paychecks. The three of us who are normally on this program. Bo's on spring break with his kids. Baker is out in Dayton for the OHSAA Boys State Tournament. That action goes through the weekend. He had a great opportunity to be in attendance for Miami and SMU. One of the final first four play-in games.
The final, yeah.
I was trying to see if he would do the Speedo thing, where you got Miami's swim team at one point while SMU was trying to do free throws. All of a sudden, came into the arena and took them all off.
I mean, that's a lock to be in one shining moment, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That absolutely has to be.
I'm hoping they can do it in Philadelphia. I don't know what the travel's like. I don't know what it's not the Xfinity Center in down, whatever the Sixers play. If they're going to have that. The kind of security to be like, no, we're not doing Speedos here.
Yeah.
This is an actual NCAA tournament.
No fun for you. Yeah. Bottom line, I was going to use another word. I don't think I'd have the guts to do the Speedo thing.
I have too much of a gut to do a Speedo thing.
Go.
You gotta have the kind of confidence that comes with being a collegiate swimmer.
Wait a minute, is he even? Oh, he does have a Speedo on.
There is something. Old Columbus.
But it was so unexpected. And maybe they do it every home game.
They do.
They do. Yes. I had never seen that, so it was pretty funny.
It became such a thing where Travis Steele, the head coach of the Red Hawks, was asked on College Game Day if during the selection show he'd wear a Speedo. And I don't think he ever paid off on that. But yeah, every home game.
He did not.
Every home game, you have Miami's men's swimming team in Speedos and swim caps. And it worked you missed the first, I think, of 2 free throws for that. So whatever you can get, they're going to need it. They're going to need everything and then some against Tennessee later on today.
Yeah.
But
stick to the plan, though, man. That's what either gets you there or it doesn't.
What's gotten you there, I think, is enough. You're going to need a little bit more than what got you there for Miami against a team like Tennessee.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, that Midwest, the road that Michigan's got as the 1 seed in that region, I'm not going to say they're going to just strut to Indianapolis, but they've got the easiest row, I think, of any team to hoe. It's been a similarly difficult row for the Ohio State men's hockey team. They've got Michigan in the Big Ten Tournament Championship tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. That's going to be in Ann Arbor. The first time Ohio State and Michigan have met in a Big Ten Hockey Tournament Championship.
That's weird,
game,
isn't
you can hear. I don't know how long that they've been doing because OU just won the Club Hockey National Championship. So I'm not sure how long it's been Big Ten men's hockey.
Yeah.
I think at one point it still might include Notre Dame.
Yeah. They didn't have, for a while, they didn't even have Big Ten men's. I mean, played, it was a different, different league.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
No, it wasn't club, but I mean, it was a different kind of league.
Okay.
It wasn't necessarily the Big Ten. But it's interesting. But I mean, this men's team for Ohio State has been, I don't know if up and down is the right word. What would you call it? But they've had some great moments this season, and so I'm curious to see what kind of game they bring there. But anytime you got Ohio State versus Michigan in anything, it's a big deal.
It always hits, and that'll hit the Fan 2 tomorrow night at 7:50. Also, what you've got tonight, today at 4 o'clock, the Ohio State women's hockey team has Northeastern in one of 2 Frozen Four semifinals. And so it'll be at 4 o'clock. Penn State's got Wisconsin tonight, and then the championship game will be Sunday at 4 o'clock. Nadine Muserol, I hope I pronounced her last name right, has been one of, if not the most successful women's hockey coach in the country among collegiate teams, and certainly one of the most successful Ohio State coaches in a long time. She got a 5-year extension yesterday, deservedly so, from Ross Bjork. Quote, "There is one person to lead Ohio State women's hockey. Happy to announce Nadine Muserol will be in Columbus for a long time with a new 5-year contract. She hasn't just coached a team. She's built a powerhouse on and off the ice. Let's go win it all this weekend."
Yep. As intense a coach as there may be at Ohio State. I mean, she's right there with any other ranking with Ryan Day or whomever. But she gets her players to play as a group, a big buy-in. And that's what, really sets her apart. And yes, women's hockey is not prolific throughout the United States, women's, but it's a small, still kind of clannish group of schools that play it, but they play it at a very much higher level than it was 10 years ago. I mean, it's a different looking game. You watch video highlights from 8-10 years ago, and now there are so many girls coming up playing hockey and getting very proficient at it. Yeah. But she is always right there at or ahead of the curve. And I've always been impressed by her and the job she does. But a 5-year extension, is that what you want to call it, or a brand new contract? That's well deserved.
Yeah, a new 5-year contract was the verbiage used by Ross Bjork, and I was skeptical when Ross took the job from Gene and echoed the sentiment that we're going to keep 36 varsity sports at Ohio State, especially now in a name, image, and likeness era, in a revenue share era. It's been said that it's not a great business decision. But I thought for Ross, it was a Gene Smith legacy, that he had 36 varsity sports competing at some of the highest levels in the country.
And Gene inherited that.
Right. And they want to continue that. And so you had, I think, great buy-in by Ohio State, still great buy-in from new Ohio State administration to keep those 36 varsity sports. And I think
as Ross explained it, though, after you get past several sports, you may not get to take the trips you used to take. Yeah. Budget cuts or trims or whatever you want to call it, or reapportions. But, you're going to have the resources, and it's up to you to make the most of your resources and compete at as high a level as you can say. Yep. But the expectations for some of the sports compared to like football are different, because you're still limited in your resources, if you follow my drift.
And there's a great pie analogy Mike Brown likes to use. It is applicable in this instance.
Yeah, it is applicable. But when you have driven coaches like Nadine Muzzerall, who rise above no matter what their challenges are, it just shows you when you go at Ohio State, if you get something going like a snowball, it can grow. And that's what women's hockey definitely has done. I mean, they compete, man. They play hard. And but it's really interesting because you can still do your own fundraising, Yeah. I mean, like Ty Tucker and the tennis team and all these, the two golf teams and stuff. You can still go out and get influential alums or well-heeled alums to help you along the way. And I think they've done a very good job of that. I mean, so much of Ross Bjork's job, it's ridiculous how much is in some form or fashion connected to fundraising, whether it be
75% of it, maybe NIL, 80% of it, maybe
to funding scholarships. And the bottom line, the entire job is that, when you think about it. And so the fact that Ohio State has played at these high levels in several of these sports, I think Todd Tucker, man, that guy, he's
special.
He's special.
And he's different. Good on Ohio State for recognizing
that. He's different. He's special. And he'll never be on a pregame show before he hosts a tournament again, like I had him on last year when they hosted, I think, Mississippi State in a, what they called it, a super regional or whatever, and they got beat.
That sounds right.
Yeah, you weren't here, but it was one of those Saturday shows. And I got him up, pulled it a favor up from him, and he'll never do that again.
Well,
it didn't work out well for him.
No, no easy way to segue. I just saw this. Chuck Norris, the martial arts champion, Walker, Texas Ranger, passed away at the age of 86. Norris was hospitalized in Hawaii on Thursday. His family, with this statement, is with heavy hearts that our family shares the sudden passing of our beloved Chuck Norris yesterday morning. While we would like to keep the circumstances private, please know that he was surrounded by his family and was at peace.
I watch YouTube a lot, and that Chuck Norris and his wife's commercial about fitness,
the gym,
and all
Total Gym.
Yeah, all these things come on, and I'm just going, what happened? As you said that, because that was a bulletin to me just then. Now what happens to those? I mean, it was all about what great shape Chuck Norris was in at this age, and his wife did almost all the talking in these things. And but yeah, Chuck Norris, a legend, man. He built him out of nothing. He came out of nothing and built himself into an empire at one point. But that's very sad to hear.
Yeah, too soon at the age of 86. So rest in peace, Chuck Norris. Our thoughts with his family. This is something that I thought yesterday about doing. I'm not sure how Tim May wildcard segment's going to go. We'll try it in 2 minutes. It's Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
Columbus, it's time to gear up. The Open Season Sportsman's Expo, presented by Progressive and Can-Am, returns this Friday through Sunday at the Ohio Expo Center. Bring the family to see Twiggy the water skiing squirrel. Shop hundreds of exhibitors and get hands-on with the latest hunting gear, equipment, outfitters, and land management. Learn from expert seminar speakers and bring your buck for the Trophy Deer Contest with more ways to win big. Fueled by Toyota, the official truck, and Tacticam, the official cell camera of the Open Season Sportsman's Expo. Get discounted tickets now at OpenSeasonSportsman'sExpo.com.
With Aetna, I always get a quick answer, and I don't have to search on the internet. They go above and beyond to help me with whatever I need.
Those words from a real Aetna Medicare Advantage member speak to why U.S. News & World Report named us a best Medicare Advantage company. Because we show up on calls with members and doctors' offices when requested. We show up with access to convenient care options. We show up for you. Because that's how healthier happens together. Member feedback has been edited for length and clarity.
Hi, Dave. Your people were at my house yesterday. Are you happy they came? I never realized how much that junk was bothering me until it was gone. We love to give people that clean, happy feeling, Dave. Thanks for calling. I feel great. Can I say one more thing? Sure. When your wonderful people were about to drive away, I looked at my wife and said, that was love with its sleeves rolled up. Did your wife agree? Absolutely. Dave, you made my day.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Hey, America, want to save $1,000 and get free internet forever? That was a rhetorical question. Switch to Spectrum and save $1,000 guaranteed. Seriously, you can hold us to it. We call it the Spectrum Savings Guarantee. Just switch 4 mobile lines to Spectrum and we'll give you free fiber-powered internet forever. Yeah, free internet forever. And we guarantee $1,000 of real savings in your first year, or we'll cover the difference. It's a guaranteed no-brainer. Learn more at spectrum.com/free forever. Spectrum Internet is powered by fiber and connected to the premises by coaxial lines. Restrictions apply.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Cosby Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Sports conversation that's worthy of a toast, or at least a stiff drink. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Yes, you are. And Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. Bo's on spring break today, next week. Ryan Baker's in Dayton for OHSAA Boys High School State Tournament action. Baker will be back on Monday. We'll be joined by Joshua Perry next week, but because it's Friday and it's 10:30, we usually have Tim May on, courtesy of the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Well, we are fortunate enough to have Tim May, courtesy of Live and Live in Color.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Great to see you. You're doing a lot today on the Fans. You've got us. You're dealing with us for the next 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you're on the Buckeye Show tonight with Brandon Beam.
Yes, we'll probably hack up the corpse once again.
Well, these kinds of postmortems are expected when you have it was shocking in that Ohio State didn't look ready enough for what TCU offered yesterday. I do think there were
at the beginning
a great many out there that said, well, TCU is going to be too much for Ohio State and they're going to dismiss the Buckeyes in the round of 64. But still something that, yes, over the next couple of days, you're going to go back and be like, what happened here? Why did this happen? With 4 seconds, is that really the play that you wanted to draw up? But a lot of stuff from this week, Tim May, in a very busy, very busy 5 days. It's going to be even busier next week where you still have the big dance, but you've also got Ohio State returning to spring football, the Pro Day on Wednesday at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. But I know that, in your coverage of Ohio State football for as long as I can remember, you were also the biggest story in town. And often when Thad Matta was the head coach here, he and his team, that was the biggest story in town. And I know you got the chance to cover Thad Matta when he was the coach at Ohio State. And first part in the Tim May wild card is I know you talked to J.J. Solinger this week, and he had some great stories to share, in his that I'd never even heard before about him and his relationship with Thad.
Yeah. Well, as he pointed out, Andy Geiger, the athletic director at the time, pointed out to Thad, I guess, that J.J. Solinger was one of maybe the cancers in the locker room or whatever that caused the downfall, helped with the downfall, and why they had to go to a Thad Matta. And, these guys were on a short leash, and Thad Matta went out of his way to let J.J. Solinger know he was part of it. And then as J.J. pointed out, he had a DUI. Right when you're getting a relationship going, you get a DUI, and the first person he called was Thad to let him know about. Not his dad or whomever. He called Thad, and Thad is because Thad had already been informed. Hey, maybe there's a couple guys here you want to get rid of, as JJ said, it was by the then athletic director Andy Geiger, but instead Thad embraced him. Obviously put parameters on.
Sure.
To stick around though, you're going to have to do this, this, and this. And JJ adhered to that and stayed on the team, and now he's as big an Ohio State booster as there is. Of course, his brother Jared,
right?
Was part and parcel to a lot of the Thad Matta fame that Thad generated when he was at Ohio State. But just talked about the intensity that Thad brought to the program, et cetera. Right from day one. Like I pointed out earlier in the show for people who weren't tuned in then, but how he showed them the intensity he wanted, like on loose ball drills. They had some kind of stat about loose 50-50 balls from the previous season, and how Ohio State it might as well have been like 10-90, as far as what the Ohio State success. And he jumped into the pile the first time they did it. Thad did with another player. And won the day. I don't know if he stacked the deck for himself, with some peewee player on the team. But then the next two guys, Brandon Foose-Cheatham was one, if I remember correctly. But there was I can't remember the other guy. They saw that, understood what they had to bring, and next thing you know, they're going through the door of the previous practice center, which was on the backside of the Schottenstein Center, I think.
Okay.
Anyway, they end up going out, fighting for the ball, and rolling down that little embankment down toward Lane Avenue. And they run out there, and Thad is the guy who was shooting the video of it. Thad turns to him and tells him to cut the video because he don't want this showing up, popping
That's
up
not
somewhere.
Something you can have
on
put out
TikTok,
there.
one of those TikTok. But yeah, Thad brought intensity, man, and he was a hell of a basketball coach.
And that was something. It is something. The intensity, the winning, the atmospheres.
What's expected?
The buy-in has been something that this program has been trying to chase since then. And what you have with an NCAA tournament appearance, your first in four, is just a jumping-off point. I know Jake had said this week that that's not the goal. That's just another box you have to check in getting to your eventual destination of competing for and maybe winning a national championship. Yeah. And it all kind of harkens back to that golden era with Thad, at least the golden era in my lifetime of Ohio State hoops. And that should never not be the goal for the program, is what Thad built. Now, will they ever be able to get to that sort of thing?
But you got to step. You got to take steps.
You should never apologize for expectations, in my opinion.
And here's the other thing. I mean, you don't make excuses, but when Ryan Day got named head coach at Ohio State, he had never been a head coach.
Right.
It was going to be a learning curve. He'd been a head coach for 3 games, plus preseason practice in 18 when that all went down. But you knew there was going to be a learning curve, but yet Ohio State was this close to going to the national championship game his first year, and that's crazy when you think about it. That 2019, the way they got robbed in that Clemson game was just awful. But with Jake Diebler, you knew there's going to be a learning curve in some form, but I think he is definitely the guy. I mean, I like him a lot. And like they said, when they get all of the parameters set in terms of what they can offer down the road, I don't think they're as bad off as Gus Johnson made them out to be.
Yeah, he made it seem like it was a poverty program.
That was wrong.
At Ohio State, and I think so too.
That was incorrect. Anybody who knows anything about what, the NIL and all this kind of stuff, but it could be better. Any place could be better.
Any place could be better, right.
Yeah.
To me, it's all
Even
about...
North Carolina could be better, but I digress. That's
true.
Jacob. Yeah. But yeah, the bottom line is, I like this guy a lot, and not just because I like him. I think he's got a lot of basketball in him, but yesterday was clearly a learning moment.
Yeah, and I would hope for everybody involved. It stinks that Bruce Thornton's not going to get another crack at this, but for guys like Junie Mobley, guys like Devin Royal, those are things that you can build off of for next year. I will say this about, allocation of funds is so important. I think it's more important now than, obviously, it's never been more predominant, where you get to see kind of what guys are making. Like Axel Lundenborg said he turned down $9 million offer from Kentucky. And people wonder, well, what's Michigan paying him? And so you're never going to have like the real number with that.
It was like the Cam Newton deal, but that was when it was against the rules. But I was going to say the other thing, Tim May moment. Is that what are you calling
this? This is the Tim May wild card.
Yeah, the other thing is Kurt Signetti getting to drive the pace car.
Speaking of NIL and allocation,
Indy 500.
Yeah,
absolutely. Hey, but you know what? That's the game, man. Learn the rules of the game as it is now. You're not playing in 19. You're not playing in 2020. This is a different
playing in 2022.
Exactly. If you don't want to play, if you don't want to learn the rules and then move from there, you're really wasting your time and everybody else's time. But Kurt Signet getting to drive the pace car, I mean, I covered the Indy 500 for 40 straight years, starting in '85, and that's a big time deal for the guys to get to do it. And a couple of my favorites was Chuck Yeager was my hero growing up. Chuck Yeager, first guy to break the sound barrier, and I remember in '86 I got the pace car drivers would. A couple of days before the race, they would give the media rides around the track. And I got in, I waited in the line to ride with Chuck Yeager. And
That's
I said,
pretty cool.
I said, General Yeager, and I said, I'm Tim May. I'm from the Columbus Dispatch, Columbus, Ohio. I said, man, you were my hero. You've been my longtime hero. It's great to meet you. And he goes, well, isn't that nice? And then he goes, he's sitting in this, I forgot the car, but he's sitting, it was a Cutlass, I think, Oldsmobile Cutlass. And he goes, and then he spreads his right arm around and goes, what do you think about this car? And I said, and all I could think about then was my hero was trying to sell me a car.
Yes.
How is this happening? But we ran around there about 100 miles an hour and had a great time. But Goose from Top Gun, Anthony Edwards at one time. Morgan Freeman was one of my favorites because we got to interview the guys. And Morgan Freeman was just great interview beforehand. Talk about how fast he drives. He ends up getting in, a car wreck a couple years later, a pretty high speed deal down in, I think, Mississippi, where he had his big farm and stuff. But yeah, just the guys you got to meet in that realm, it was pretty cool.
I mean, it means winning a national championship is obviously like you've arrived, but Signetti then parlaying that into being one of, if not the highest paid coach in college football. I think it's
embrace it because. This doesn't happen for everybody. And it may never happen to you again.
You talk about the windows in sport, right? I always go back to Joe Burrow saying, my window's my career. And it's like, no, it's never. The window is never what you think.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? Sometimes you have to take your fate into your own hands. Joe Burrow did that.
Yeah.
Paid off pretty well for him.
We've got... So it's not Buckeye on Buckeye crime. I don't know if that's the proper way to say this, but Mark Titus, former Ohio State basketball player, is half right. You'll hear from him and a couple other things in college hoops coming up with Thing or Not a Thing next. Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
This is a Daily Show with Coach Jake Diebler, brought to you by Encova Insurance. Ohio State falls to TCU 66-64. Jake, while the loss stings, you had to be proud of how your team fought back and got back into this basketball game.
We showed what we were made of there those last 20 minutes. And, didn't go perfect, but the toughness, the fight, the connection we played with those last 20 minutes was a lot of fun. Just being appreciative of the response our guys had coming out of halftime and, just end up one play short.
Yeah, it, Coach, seemed like you won those first 4-minute intervals. What were some of the most important things that your team had to adjust to make that little dent in that lead?
We had to take care of the ball run, which I thought we really did a great job with in the second half. And then, we had to up our pressure and physicality defensively. We just didn't have enough of it in the first 20 minutes, and that dug a hole. They hit some shots. We missed some shots, and all of a sudden, we were down. But this team is full of the right stuff, and the way they came out in that second half was a lot of fun.
All right, we'll have another comment in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the court. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. Basketball is full of challenging shots, and life can be too. With Encova, you don't have to do it alone. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
66-64, the final. TCU defeats Ohio State here in the NCAA tournament. It'll be the last time Bruce Thornton puts on a scarlet and gray uniform, Jake. I know it might be hard right now, but what are your thoughts about how this young man ended his stellar career?
Yeah, well, I think he should be, certainly remembered as one of the all-time great players to come through this program. And, Certainly, for what he was able to accomplish individually in his growth as a player, but also getting our program back to this stage. Again, not exactly how we wanted it to go, obviously, but he should be remembered for sticking it out, staying loyal to Ohio State, and, believing in a new program and trusting the development and, just an elite young man, as elite of a player as he is. He's an even better young man, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for him. He'll represent Ohio State really well, no matter where he's at.
It's the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Imagine yourself in a new Toyota, like the best-selling Toyota Tacoma. Now through March 31st, get 4.99 APR financing on a new 26 Tacoma. Excludes TRD Pro and Trail Hunter. Or lease a well-equipped 26 Tacoma SR5 for $299 a month for 36 months with $39.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
For a while there, we weren't sure it was even coming. I'm talking about spring, and you know it's truly spring during Oakland Nursery's Spring Fling from March 14th through the 22nd. Do you want the best lawn on the block? Get the Anderson's 4-application lawn program, available exclusively in Central Ohio at Oakland Nursery. $69.99 for the entire 4-application program covering 5,000 square feet. It's Oakland's best DIY program. Get to Oakland Spring Fling March 14th through the 22nd and save. For 86 years, spring starts at Oakland Nursery.
Confused as to what to do after an accident? Or perhaps your insurance company is making the repair process difficult to navigate? Call us at Capital Ford Collision Center, where we fix all makes and models. We will work with your insurance company so you don't have to. Visit CapitalFordColumbus.com today.
With all that can go wrong at your home, it's enough to make you want to say, oh, brother. With Brothers Roofing and Construction, one call covers it all. Roofing, siding, rotting decks, we cover it all. So visit us online at brothersroofingconstruction.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
The uncle you never knew you had. The friends you kind of wish you didn't. This is Bishop and Friends.
I will say that the maiden voyage of the Tim May wild card was a success.
Yeah, could have used more horsepower. If I'd have thought about it a little bit more.
Well, it's the first one.
My Segway could have used some work.
That was good though.
Thanks for letting me use that word.
Instead of the proper segue, we had the Kurt Signetti.
Yeah,
and you aptly titled it the Segway. Next week's conversation with you at 10:30 will be a little different.
Yeah.
Because you've got Ohio State spring ball, and then you've got the pro day on Wednesday, and it all culminates in Ohio State spring game on April 18th.
Might be while I'm at pro day. Who knows? Yeah.
I mean, that's a possibility.
Wait, I'm trying to remember.
I'm trying to see. So it's Wednesday, right?
Yes,
the pro day.
the 25th. You're right.
We have you. Man, this would be a thing.
No, that's Wednesday. Yeah,
Wednesday.
I'm thinking Friday.
We
Yeah.
normally have you at the off season when you're golfing.
Yes.
We get you in the Woody Hayes Athletic Center while they're doing drills. They always say in like broadcasting school, Nat sounds what you want.
You should have video of me while I'm doing those from the golf course, because I usually have a jacket on and I pull the jacket up all the way over my head so it'll be a windbreak so it won't interfere with my conversations.
The best thing that I've ever seen on a
that would
Zoom
be good
press
television.
conference was you were talking to Ryan Day on the golf course and you had your coat up.
Yeah.
I think it was raining.
Yeah, we were at
Zoom.
Royal American.
Mm-hmm.
I remember it like it happened 5 minutes ago. It was a Zoom call.
All right. We got a Zoom to thing or not a thing.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Billiards Plus. Find your next grill and everything you need for the master griller. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
All right, so coming in this morning, I noticed there was a little bit of Buckeye on Buckeye crime. Mark Titus, one of the more famous walk-ons in college basketball history. I think he's on Barstool Sports these days.
Yeah.
He talked, I would call this, showed some disdain toward Ohio State basketball fans after their loss to TCU yesterday.
We have the worst fans in the world, Ohio State.
Come on.
Ohio State basketball fans are the worst fans in the world. They're the worst.
What do you mean
They're
by
literally worse because they watch football all year. They don't even pay attention to the basketball program. They like parachute in around like late January, early February. They look up the rankings, and if we're not ranked in the top 10, they're just like, everything sucks, fire everybody, this is terrible. They have no idea what they're talking about. They don't even know the names of the players, and they bitch like they want us to be a top 10 program, which I do too, but like, where's that? The reason the top 10 programs are the top 10 programs is because they carry themselves like top 10 programs 365 days a year, and the fans are invested in the program, and people are coming to the games, and the people are like studying the recruits, and like they pour their passion into this. They don't just like pop in and say like, oh, we're in the tournament, okay, I'll sit down and watch this game, and then we lose the game and you're like, fire the coach. It's absurd.
Thing or not a thing.
That's a thing. That's right. I've got a buddy of mine claims to be an Ohio State fan. I'm not going to
no
name
names,
his,
please.
I'm not going to name his name, but it rhymes with Cook.
Oh no.
and he's 3 weeks ago I had him on my podcast, and he was talking about how, go out and get a coach who knows what he's doing, blah, blah, blah. Right on down the line what Titus is saying there. And then I said, well, you know what, man, you got to at least let a team finish a season and see how it comes out. It's got to be a whole, a whole experience before you decide what's going to happen. Number two, no, there's no. I was under the impression from people I talked with, the movers and shakers, so to speak, there was no push to get rid of Jake Diebler, even before the run, because he's like we all knew there were going to be growing pains for a first-time head coach. But then past that, and then all of a sudden now they get into the tournament, they do the impossible, they beat Purdue at home, they do the impossible, get into the tournament, and then the way they lost to Michigan, he couldn't handle it. And then communicating with him, he's on a cruise right now, which gave it away a little bit for anybody who follows the Tim May show. But the bottom line is he's going to be on again next Monday, and I know what's coming, man. They weren't ready for the moment. They took them too long to adjust. Everything we've talked about.
Yeah.
What we've talked about is growing moments for a coach and a coaching staff and a team. We haven't said at all that Jake Diebler should be in jeopardy, right? This morning, because that is not the case.
Yeah.
Because you know what, the prime thing when you're the head coach at Ohio State in basketball is to get to the NCAA tournament. Then, as Ross Bjork pointed out, then as that progresses, you want to go into the tournament.
Yep.
You want to be a second weekend kind of program at least. That's what the bar. That's the bar that Ross Bjork is setting for the basketball. But first, you got to get there, and they got there this year. Next year, different. I hate to use the word parameters again, but parameters.
That's a good word to use.
It's definitely a thing. And Tim, to that point, like I've been looking at this as like it's a lot of momentum moving into next year with what you could possibly be bringing back, and then what you're able to do in the transfer portal, and you also have Anthony Thompson coming in. Like that's a lot to be excited for next year. But to Mark Titus's point, I go to just look at the shot on a weeknight.
Yes,
you see empty sections, and I'm gonna throw them in the conversations of Blue Bloods, but like look at Kansas, look at Duke, look at Carolina. But I feel like Ohio State basketball should be on that level when you look at how many Final Fours they've been to. They're in the list of at the top with those programs.
Yep.
I'm not saying it needs to be that level for Ohio State basketball, but I feel like they have a right to feel like they're in that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State fans in general expect excellence. I mean, from a football standpoint, but I've always said they've won, 3 national championships since I've been covering Ohio State football.
Yeah.
That's going back to 1984. You know what I mean? You don't win a national championship every year. Woody Hayes did not win a national. He blew 2 or 3 national championships back in the day and stuff. This that you have this God-given right to play for, not just play for, but to win national championships every year is ill-founded. You should be in the competition for it, though. And Ohio State football, for the most part, has been in the picture much more often than they haven't been in that regard. Basketball, not necessarily the case, but during the Thad Matta era, they were in the conversation, man. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, but they were in the conversation perpetually. But then in the end, that wasn't good enough. We'll talk about that later, right?
Right.
But the bottom line is, yeah, but in a metro area with 2.2 million people, to see 8 or 10,000 people at an Ohio State home basketball game against a conference opponent, that's pitiful.
If Ohio State football played a game on a Thursday night, how packed is the shoe?
Sell out.
Yes.
It's packed.
But rightfully so. Like,
yeah,
that was a rhetorical question by him.
You're not.
Can't do rhetorical on the radio sometimes. There needs to be audio.
That question had rhyme and reason.
That was really good. Real quick here, BYU was dismissed from the Big Dance last night in a 79-71 loss to Texas.
You see that coming, man.
First 4 teams won an NCAA tournament first-round game for the 13th time in 15 tournaments since its implementation. Miami's got the chance today against Tennessee. For the Cougars, freshman sensation A.J. DeBanza scored almost half of BYU's 71 points. He had 35. He's the first freshman since Steph Curry with 30-plus in a round of 64 game. Thing or not a thing?
Thing. I like that guy. I've watched that guy play several times this year, and you just kind of marvel at the fact this guy's a freshman. You know what I mean? But it would have been like, I'm not going to, this is hyperbole. It would have been almost like watching LeBron James play as a freshman. You know, I mean, that would have been cool.
Yeah.
Talking about Ohio State and lost opportunities, man. But yeah, I just like the way this guy, but you could, Jacob, you can back me up here or not. I just saw that team as DeBanza and these other guys.
Yes.
All year. And you finally, water finds its own level, right?
They had a Richie Saunders injury that really hindered their chances of making a deep run. And I still felt coming into this that, like, I don't have the full trust in BYU to make a deep run, but if anything, like, A.J. DeBanza could just power them on a run. Yeah. And he was doing his best to do that last night, that's for sure.
Absolutely. You go with the guy that got you there. I mean, I understand him having those opportunities.
I feel bad for these NBA GMs that have to deal with having the number 1 pick because
that's why you tank, though, for the opportunity at one of these guys.
Yeah.
Learned a lot this week. We'll try our best in like 12 minutes to really hash it all out, and we'll likely fail. Doug Lesmerises also coming up at 11:30. That's next. Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
The radio couldn't contain us, so we've taken over YouTube. Catch Morning Juice weekday mornings at 6 by searching 971 The Fan. Do it.
Hey, folks. Jason Horowitz here with another NCAA tournament schedule preview. More first-round action coming up today, including the 2 remaining 1 seeds. Arizona and Florida getting their title missions underway. Plus great matchups like an 8-9 battle between Clemson and Iowa, and 29-win Akron from the MAC trying to upset Texas Tech out of the Big 12. Stay tuned for all the game action and scores with Westwood One's exclusive coverage of the NCAA tournament right here.
Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-791-0000. That's 800-791-0000.
Got this. Breathe. You got this. You got this.
In the moments that truly matter, what do?
Rise to the occasion. Ohio Health. It's time.
I started my first business when I was 12, mowing lawns for about $5 a yard. I learned if you do the job right, people trust you and customers care that you show up and do what you say you're going to do. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello, owner of Don's Garage Doors. From garage door repairs to upgrades, we show up, we stand behind every job. We only use the best parts, and spring's guaranteed to last a lifetime. When you care about the people you serve, you work harder and it shows. Call Don's Garage Doors today or schedule online at donsgaragedoors.com.
When it comes to garage doors, no one knows more.
No one plans to get into an accident, but when it happens, we strive in making life easier for you. This is Justin Hinderer. The Hinderer Motor Company Collision Center is ICAR certified and certified by many manufacturers to provide the best quality repair available. All of our repairs come with a lifetime warranty. We have our own 24/7 towing service so you never have to wait. Plus, we offer on-site rental cars for every lifestyle. At Hinderer Motor Company, we love what moves you.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Right now, buy 2 windows, get 2 free in 24 months with no payments or interest, plus $500 off. Restrictions apply. Call 614-502-5220. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios. Driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. It's day 2 in the round of the 64 in the Big Dance. 3 Ohio teams in action Friday at 12:40 in Tampa. A 12-5 matchup with Akron and Texas Tech at 1:50. A 14-3 in the Midwest. Wright State plays Virginia. Then at 4:25, Miami of Ohio has Tennessee. The tournament action begins at 12:15. Santa Clara battles Kentucky and St. Louis. Ohio State bowed out of the Big Dance yesterday in a 66-64 loss to TCU. The Ohio State women's squad will begin their Big Dance hosting Howard tomorrow at 11:30 in the round of 64. You can hear that game on the Fan with coverage Saturday at 11:15. Winner gets Notre Dame or Fairfield Monday at the Shot. In the NHL, the Blue Jackets currently occupy a playoff spot with 14 games left to go. CBJ are third in the Metro thanks to a 3-game winning streak and an 11-game point streak. They look to extend both of those tomorrow night hosting the Kraken. They'll play the Islanders in New York on Sunday. This update sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union, voted best local credit union for the last 8 years by CBUS Top Picks.
First Friday miracles are always better with Uncle Bo. This is Bishop and Friends.
Yeah, these postmortems are never fun with Ohio State and TCU and how things went yesterday in Greensville.
Yep. They're
We've
never
got
fun.
The Horned Frogs and Duke tomorrow night. The Blue Devils also had a scare against Siena. Ohio State fans certainly can understand how that goes.
Yep.
But this is, I think, at least part of what makes this time of the year, this tournament, the best, but also the worst way to find out who is the best because of the one and doneness. But it's, I think, the best postseason in sport, just in my opinion.
Back in the day,
I second that.
At the Dispatch, we used to cover all the regionals. I got to go to a regional every year for 20-something years or something before we started running out of money. You know how that goes, newspaper business.
Oh, sure do.
But I got to go to a lot of cool ones. Like I said, I was sitting there, 50 feet or whatever. I don't know what it was from Leitner when he hits the shot against Kentucky in OT. That was pretty damn cool. Jamal Mashburn had fouled out, or else Kentucky wins. But I'll never forget the year. I'm trying to remember the year, but it was the West Regional in Anaheim, and Arizona was in it. And Arizona had finished like 4th or 5th in the Pac-10 or Pac-12, whatever it was then, right? And they went on to win the championship, the national championship. And so I've always looked at the NCAA tournament not as Maui Wowie, you know what I mean, as the Maui Classic or whatever it's called. I've always looked at it as separate from the actual regular season because they're totally different exercises. You get hot at the right time with a team coming on at the end of a year, and, man, you can roll right through. I mean, Purdue, I am very curious about Purdue.
Yeah.
Because Purdue was mediocre for Purdue standards.
Well, they fell off towards the end of the regular season.
Yeah, but then they all of a sudden, boom, they stepped
Got
back.
hot.
Yeah, they beat Michigan, and now you're going, this is the Purdue team you thought you were going to see perpetually through the year. Then you look at a Duke, and like we knew Duke was wounded going into this tournament, even though they were the overall number 1 seed.
Right.
And so I'm very curious after this first weekend who really draws my attention on the team that's hot at the right time, like Arizona ended up being that year and going on and win the national championship.
You've got Arizona and Long Island today at 1:35. That'll be a West Regional game.
They're calling it the Iced Tea Bowl.
That's pretty good. I didn't put that together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite funny.
Can's still $1.99 or 99 cents.
No, 99 cents.
For those.
They're probably
in every era.
Yeah.
The same price. But fortunately, with Ohio State bowing out of the NCAA tournament, it is the first time in 4 years for the Buckeyes to make the big dance. You'd hoped better for Bruce Thornton as his career comes to an end, kind of the finality of everything. And you'd hoped better from Jake Diebler in drawing up a final play with 4 seconds left.
Yeah.
Certainly a handoff, a givesies backsies to Christoph Tilley is you have 4 seconds, but you only got 4 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's something that, to your point that you've made,
no matter what, a second and a half of that, no matter what, is of Thornton coming up the court before he gets the ball back.
Yeah, and
that's what I didn't like about it.
Inbounding and end-of-game situations came back to bite the Buckeyes in the worst way. You do have Ohio State and the women's basketball team with an opportunity to make a run with Kevin McGuff. They'll play tomorrow at 11:30. That's Howard.
Yeah.
We'll have the game on the Fan with coverage at 11:30. Winner, if that gets Fairfield or Notre Dame, hopefully Notre Dame this coming Monday. It's been an incredibly busy week, and what we try to do at 11 o'clock on Friday is make sense of it all.
We're not trying to do too much around here, but over the course of 5 days, you might have gleaned some stuff. Bishop and Friends present What We've Learned This Week.
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery Co. Make a reservation today at highbankco.com. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
And I say that because there's no real way to make a lot of sense of a lot of this. So we try, and I say it in the form of a question, because I don't really know. But
wait a minute, who typed a question mark on the teleprompter?
Sometimes it gets you. Reading, kids.
You know why a lot of times it doesn't make sense? The 3-point shot.
Boy, that was, to your point about
great equalizer.
About getting hot, and you look to Miami and the run the Red Hawks have been able to make, and how they were injured going into the Mid-American Conference tournament, but one night in Dayton they get hot against SMU, and hopefully can carry some of that magic over to Philadelphia when they take on Tennessee. For Ohio State, you knew TCU was going to present to you a physical matchup that was going to require you to punch back.
Yes.
But in that punching, you were going to need to make shots from beyond the arc, and 2 in the first half, 6 of 23 overall, isn't going to get it done against anybody.
Nope. And especially what you'd been averaging coming into that game from an offensive standpoint. And I didn't think. I don't want to stand here because I don't like to second guess a sport.
It's sports talk radio, Tim. That's all we do.
But I wouldn't consider myself an expert on at all. Anybody who knows me knows that there's an inside joke there, but I won't get to it. But the bottom line is, I would have spent more time trying to get Mobley going, man.
Yeah.
And then I would have spent more time getting Bynum, because the off guys, other than Thornton, which you knew TCU was going to take away. He's a third of Ohio State's points, on a regular basis. Take that guy away, and now let's see what the other guys, if the other guys can beat us type stuff. And I would like to have seen more emphasis on that aspect of the game, even from the get-go, and more emphasis on guys figuring out pretty quickly who's got an advantage and getting the ball in that guy's hands in those man-to-man pressure situations. Because you know what? The other team is human too. They're not,
right.
But they were known as being what? Physical and long. And for a shortish team, they were long. But by long, a lot of guys with long arms, et cetera, but also a lot of guys overplaying on defense. And it kind of suffocates you. I don't know how you really get ready for something like that if you haven't really faced it a lot. But it suffocated Ohio State for a while. Then it came out, and made a game of it, even took the lead. But those are just a couple things as looking back on it. You do second guess.
We were second guessing from here until October.
You've got to learn from it.
All right, and the transfer portal, I think, opens up the 5th or 6th of April. And so that's kind of the next step for Jake Diebler, is to figure out his roster.
Yeah.
The Horned Frogs get Duke tomorrow at 5:15. You can see that game. It'll be Big Boy CBS. So I'm actually now excited to see what TCU, if they can kind of put the clamps on Duke the way they were able to on the Buckeyes. Because really, all of this conversation we've had about Ohio State just goes back to the news this week that Thad Matta had retired. 502 wins all time, the golden age really in my lifetime of Ohio State basketball. And you keep thinking with what was accomplished this year after what was disappointing about last year, if there can be more moves made to a deeper tournament run next year for Jake Diebler, why can't they be back to what it was with Thad?
Yeah.
Why not?
You can be. I mean, the resources are there. The resources, the way, when you hear people talk, the resources are going to get even better for them in this competitive age.
They need to. And they need to for everybody.
Agent-coach negotiations, which is pretty funny to say compared to when Thad Matta's...
What would it have looked like, do you think, with Thad at Ohio State in the NIL transfer portal era?
I don't know, because, he had a lot of problems with what was going on other places when he first left. When he left.
They fired Jim O'Brien for stuff that would be laughable now.
Oh, laughable, ridiculous, legal. Oh, yeah, do them a favor.
Nobody would bat an eyelash over any of it.
Help that family out, which is what you're doing now with the revenue sharing and the NIL opportunities. But I digress. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I think Thad would have rolled with the punches. But back then, with all the stuff that you knew, maybe, because a lot of this was never proven.
Right.
It was probably going on elsewhere, and you weren't allowed to partake in that, but you were also expected to field a team that competed every year and had national championship aspirations. That had to be extremely frustrating. What I would like to have seen back, because I just wandered into that press conference with him and Gene Smith when
Thad's?
Yeah, Thad's when he was let go.
You're Tim May. You don't wander into anything.
Well, I just showed up,
it was the big news.
As some of the guys in my sports department reminded me, I wasn't supposed to be there because I didn't cover basketball, and I just went, it's the biggest story in town.
You're in the interesting business.
I had a video camera, and I was big on, putting stuff up on the web if I could. Then also, we were behind the times on that aspect of it, too, for a long time, but that's another story. Speaking of second guessing. Bottom line is, I didn't realize at the beginning, the way it was announced, that it was a firing, and it really was a firing. Yet Thad was there and answering questions, and you could see the frustration in him. But what I'm getting to here is, with the pressure coaches are under now, head coaches in basketball and football, you would like what they call it in the rest of academia. You would like to be able to see the pressure. Ryan Day. That's a 24/7 job, man. You can poke holes at what he's making and stuff, but I'm telling you, based on relativity, he is earning his money on what he's being paid now as a head coach. But you would like to be able to see them somehow, some way, like a professor in the chemistry department, have a sabbatical year where they get to just go.
You mean for Thad?
Yeah. For Thad, then it would have been because he was physically, his back, etc., was obviously bothering him, keeping him from being able to recruit like he should or could be on the road. He was criticized for some of his recruiting in the state of Ohio then. My point is, he couldn't make a lot of those trips because he just literally a lot of times couldn't. So you'd like to see him be able to just take a year back, go bask somewhere, get his batteries recharged, get his back in some kind of order, and then move on, because he was a hell of a basketball coach for Ohio State.
We look back on what was from the golden era of Ohio State basketball, and we hope as we look towards the future, that's what it can at least build with Jake Diebler at the helm. We also, Buckeye quarterback, we learned this week, got a new home. We'll discuss Justin Fields in Kansas City coming up next. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
Big voice guy here to remind you that you're listening to The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Okay, thanks. I have 3 more seconds. Bye-bye.
Low testosterone can be a real problem for many men. It causes poor sleep patterns, decreased energy, low sex drive, and it makes it really hard to stay in shape. And as we all know, a healthy body is very important to our overall health and well-being. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and if some or all of these symptoms sound like you, we can likely help you be done with low T. We can also help you lose weight, support your metabolism, improve your gains in the gym, and more with our new targeted body composition plans featuring GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, and more. Our low T protocols, applied in conjunction with our body composition plans, will help most men see real improvements, true weight loss, higher energy, improved sleep, stronger workouts, and a renewed sex drive as well. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the same day, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
Matty Ice here, ready to run toward incredible savings. Get set for the 37th annual Marathon Mania at McDaniel GM Superstore in Marion, March 20th and the 21st only. Select new and used vehicles are priced at invoice, but that's not all. Every hour they slash prices even more, taking an additional $50 off. They're also staying open later and giving you more time to score the deal of a lifetime. And don't miss offers like $12,000 off MSRP on the 26 Silverado 1500 for qualified buyers. McDaniel GM Superstore in Marion. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
I love Right Pack Credit Union because they're solution driven. I feel valued as a member.
They're focused on the latest technology and the personal connections.
Experience benefits that go beyond banking with Right Pack Credit Union. Just ask our actual members.
I definitely recommend Right Pack to all my family and friends as a credit union of choice.
Visit one of our Columbus area Right Pack Credit Union member centers near you. Based on individual members' experiences, results may vary.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If your garage floor has stains, cracks, or even the dreaded bad epoxy job, maybe one you tried to do yourself, maybe one you paid for and it didn't work out, it can make your entire garage look bad. Let's be honest about it. And maybe those botched garage floor coatings that you've had in the past have put you off of ever getting it fixed. Well, my friends, let me tell you, the people at Comer and Cross Concrete Floor Coatings want you to know there is a fix out there. They can make your garage floor gleaming, glistening, look like a new car showroom. You call Comer and Cross at 1-800-NEW-FLOOR, and they will come out with their pros, no subcontractors, and install a gleaming new Comer and Cross garage floor in just one day. Yeah, this floor is guaranteed to never chip, crack, or even show tire lift like epoxy or paint can. Never going to have that problem with Comer and Cross. Call them today, 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. It's that easy. 1-800-NEW-FLOOR, or you go to comercross.com. That's C-O-M-E-R cross.com. Get a new garage floor with Comer and Cross Concrete Floor Coatings today.
Rothman and Ice.
So who's the source of this?
One of those sites I go to.
Is it okay? Is this,
I don't know.
You better clarify what site it's on.
Clip that.
Okay.
Rothman and Ice. Weekdays at noon.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus.
The Fan.
Springtime is here, and you know what that means? It's time for mulch madness. Did you know that too much mulch is bad for trees and shrubs? 2 inches of mulch is plenty. Any more and you risk causing roots to grow up and around trunks, which increases unhealthy stress, shortens tree life, and even keeps moisture from getting down to tree roots. To find out more about mulch madness or to find a certified arborist near you, visit treesforohio.org. That's trees, the number 4, ohio.org.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Jeff Wensing.
Families trust schools to be places where children can learn without fear. That is why educators, students, and families are speaking out to ensure schools remain places where children can learn and reach their full potential. All students deserve to feel safe and welcome at school with the respect and security they need to learn and thrive. No exceptions.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Mostly cloudy skies today and warm and windy as daytime highs soar into the upper 60s to even low 70s. Could see a chance of showers and thunderstorms late afternoon into the evening, but it will be more isolated in nature. For tonight, mostly cloudy overnight with lows in the 40s. And then for Saturday, a dry day with sunshine throughout the afternoon. Highs getting in the mid to upper 60s. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 weather impact forecast.
Common man, a radio veteran, has a large hemorrhoid. Timmy Hall, a good clean boy, moonlights as man's hemorrhoid. Common man and Timmy.
Weekdays at 3.
The Fan. If you say something with enough confidence, it must be true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
I can confidently welcome everybody to spring. It's the first day in the Northern Hemisphere. It was at 10:46 Eastern Time. we flipped over from winter. So congratulations, Tim May. Congratulations, Jacob Reimer.
feels
You
like
made it to spring. It has sprung.
It feels like it outside.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, I mean, 3 days ago, it was, high of 26 degrees. Are you kidding me?
I had put my winter coat away last week, and then I got it out for Monday.
I thought getting rid of February was my big deal, but getting rid of March was a bigger deal.
Well, March Madness is going on, so that's why it feels so nice out.
Heats up.
Usually, for me,
Friction.
I attach spring with Ohio State's spring game. Like, it's still kind of, because you're going to get 20, 30-degree days, I think, spattered over the next couple of weeks until you reach that April 18th game. But then once that happens, once the boot meets the ball, noon, Saturday, April 18th, no more.
Yeah.
It's shorts weather. Put your pants away.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But wear your
I think
whites.
so.
Is that when you start wearing whites?
Oh, I don't follow
Like
that.
if
I don't have the confidence to wear white.
If you're in
too
the
much.
Hamptons, is that when you start wearing your whites?
Maybe.
But the bottom, yeah, exactly. I
don't know.
I'll never forget, man, a week and a half ago, me and my buddy Dylan Davis from the Delaware Gazette, we become big golfing buddies.
I was about to say, do you have a tee time this weekend scheduled?
We might, but I'll hold off on that. But we played the Ridge, and it was a high that day of like 59 degrees or 60, but the wind was blowing 15 to 30. I mean, it's
a windy one.
And he and I had the same epiphany at the same time as, you know what? I wouldn't mind going to Scotland and playing once, but if this is the way it is every day there, forget that.
Just do it once,
forget about that romance, But my buddy Paul Spine is still recovering from a few physical challenges, but Dylan's become my guy. Matter of fact, he's going to be on my podcast today. But yeah, I mean, playing golf in the wind is fun every now and then, but not on a
what was last
regular
Friday?
basis.
I don't think there was any fun to be had, as most people were just indoors because you had shingles, trash cans,
dude. Parts of our 3-board fence blew
trees,
down. Yeah, I had to go out.
Tim May's fence.
My wife and I had to go out and repair our fence in the middle of all that, so that was not fun.
Get the Tim May Show with Clay Hall wherever it is you do your podcast from FanStream Sports. You can find it on YouTube. We did our What We Learned This Week segment. We do it Fridays at 11 o'clock, but the quarterback news for Justin Fields. Now he's a member of the Kansas City Chiefs, and been a weird, strange journey for the former Buckeye signal caller. And now he's got a chance to maybe 1 or 2 games to step in for Patrick Mahomes. I know Mahomes says he's going to be ready for week 1, but they always say that this time of the year.
I always wonder how Justin Fields would have done if JT Barrett was his quarterback coach, like Caleb Williams all of a sudden is now really good.
Yeah.
And he was also a question mark, perpetual question marks at quarterback for Chicago Bears. You can name them. There's a
forever
long distinguished line.
Even the guys that have won Super Bowls and NFC championship games. Question.
But yeah, the deal here is there's no doubt he's the backup quarterback, or he's no more than the backup quarterback, pending how Mahomes really comes back healthy, physically, et cetera. But whether this is his last shot of finding a marriage that works between what he can do, what he brings to the table, and what the offensive coordinator and head coach want from their offense, I think this is a great moment for him.
Yeah.
I don't think he's the great improviser that Patrick Mahomes is, though.
I don't think
every quarterback is different.
Right.
But what Justin Fields has is ridiculous speed to run occasionally, to keep drives alive, and then on occasion, he looks like a really good passer, and on other occasions, it looks like he has no idea what he's looking at.
Never thrown football before.
But it's always preparation, right? I mean, that's what Thad Matta, we talked about Thad Matta, previous thing. His big deal was preparation. Nothing replaces preparation. And being, if you don't see things correctly, having someone pointing out things to you where you can get better and take advantage of your strengths. I think this is as good an opportunity as Justin is probably going to get. And so I'm curious, as you are, because the physical talents are clearly there.
And certainly an interesting couple of weeks in the AFC West where you talk about the Las Vegas Raiders, who at one point thought they were going to have the 14th overall pick in the NFL draft to go along with the number 1 overall pick, but then the Ravens pull back on the deal, and you had Max Crosby this week talking about how weird things were in the facility where he didn't meet with the head coach or the general manager for 5 hours. And then once he did, they sat him down and they said, hey, your physical didn't work out. It's like, well, 30 other teams are saying, no, the physical's fine. Like, it's just the Baltimore Ravens now who they're going to get away with it. And you're going to be wondering a lot, why can't the NFL do something about this? Because it's dirty what they did, but they're going to hide behind the trades are dependent on the physical.
You remember
physical didn't work out.
You remember the most you remember the most famous or infamous example of that was when Nick Saban was with the Miami Dolphins.
Did they
and
fail
they had a
Drew
chance,
Brees?
They had a chance to take Drew Brees, and he failed basically, I'm making a long story short.
Yeah.
Their medical team or somebody didn't like Drew Brees coming. I think he was coming from San Diego, and he'd had the shoulder deal, and they thought he was spoiled goods and was only going to go downhill from there. And he ends up with the New Orleans Saints and goes downhill to a Super Bowl championship.
The ultimate swinging
Nick
doors
Saban,
moment for college and NFL.
But what it opened Nick Saban's eyes up to was, hey, I'm not the biggest.
I'm not the top dog here.
I'm not the top dog in this room. I'm going to go back to college where I'm the top dog. And he ended up being not just the top dog, the GOAT.
Weird is going to be the word to use when you see Trey Hendrickson twice in a Ravens uniform.
Yes.
It feels like for the Bengals, like their best case scenario is if Caleb Downs can fall to them at 10. Like bad knee and all. But certainly they'll have, to take another swing at a defender in the NFL draft on April 23rd. But back to the Raiders, where Mark Davis now, there's a report from ESPN that he's agreed to a succession plan in the event he ever sells the Raiders. This from Seth Wickersham and Don Van Natta of the Worldwide Leader. NFL owners are expected to vote later this month on a plan that would entail Davis both selling 7% of the team to a venture capital firm, Silver Lake, and giving one of those financiers the option to buy a majority interest in the franchise if or when Davis decides to sell. So the equity sale of...
But he's not ready to sell.
He's not ready to sell yet, but he's selling some, just not all of it quite yet. The valuation about $10 billion. So Egon Durbin is one of those financiers. He already owns 7.5% of the team. I guess it gives Durbin a right of first refusal to buy the team from Davis so he can't undersell it to Tom Brady.
Yeah, supposedly.
Supposedly. What this, to me, screams for those cash-strapped NFL teams is kind of a new way of bringing forth capital you need without, in the moment, acquiescing control.
Kind of like timeshares.
I think
really is what it is.
I think to the Bengals, I think to the Chicago Bears, and you have those legacy ownership group, the families.
Yeah.
But this is their business. They don't really have liquid capital. This brings that in for the Raiders because they also have $280 million of new spending they agreed to, not thinking they'd have Max Crosby on the books. So I look at all of this and I go, okay, Mark Davis, not a bad plan.
No, not a bad plan. But what is the true plan? Because, I mean, he is trying to set up a succession.
It's vague, and it's vague to Davis's credit.
It's like what's going on with Seattle now. Seattle, the lady has to, Paul Allen's
you have to sell it.
Yeah. She's being forced to sell it by the NFL. I don't know how that works, I
think it was dictated to in the trust.
Yes. But you understand what I'm saying. It's like it's your family.
Yeah.
This has been your family.
That's an awkward
property.
Thanksgiving.
And then all of a sudden now it's not. And why? Because, that's the way it was set up. It's really interesting with Mark Davis because let's face it, he was born with a silver football in his mouth.
Yes.
Right? And it has not been good sailing for him since he took over for his late father. So Al Davis, one of the great, whatever you want to call it,
professional football pioneers
of all time from the AFL,
right?
Parlayed that into ownership of the, and that was a partial ownership that he parlayed into, majority ownership,
full time,
way back in the 60s, early 70s, I guess early 70s, and then from there. But the bottom line is, it just pulls back the curtain a little bit more on what the NFL is all about. I mean, did I see where the Raiders have a valuation of something like $10 billion? In one of the things that was written about this thing, and I'm just going, man, pro football teams.
That's good for Mark.
If you'd have gotten in on the ground floor back in the 70s, it's crazy what it's worth now. But it's an ownership group. You're a part of an ownership group, and really what you become part of is they vote you in or out of the club, kind of like joining the Kiwanis or something, on a much higher stakes basis. And it's kind of hard to understand when you do all the math of what they're talking about there of the Raiders and the ability to sell parts of it off and yet have Tom Brady maybe in a position to still get part of it. And
he's going to be involved.
Who knows what the plan is? Because the only guy that really knows is Mark Davis.
And I don't even think he's got a real.
And the Tom Brady thing has not been exactly the
Mark Davis, one of those owners that if he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed, the plan changes.
Yes, exactly. But he's just odd dude.
Oh, yeah.
But
putting it mildly.
the Tom Brady magic touch hasn't really worked for a couple of years so far.
No, I'm looking at Sportico from August. The Raiders are valued at $7.9 billion. That's an 18% raise or 18% increase from year to year. The Dallas Cowboys, unsurprisingly, $12.8 billion, but still 10% of $7.9 billion if you're going to evaluate it that way, or if you're going to increase the value of it, which I guess you would because it's no longer 2025.
Right. But that's the point. This deal, if these kind of deals go through, it would supposedly increase the Raiders' value to $10 billion, and whatever that means. But what's funny is the guy. What's the guy's name again? The Durbin.
Yeah,
Durbin.
Egon.
Yeah. Anyway, his company's only valued at like $2.5 billion. So, I mean, this is crazy stuff.
Yes, this is why everybody wants to get involved in professional sports, because
you get cities to help you
put money,
build a dome and stadium,
and you're cashing out checks almost more than they can print them.
Yeah.
Doug Lesmerises up in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
Forget the pot of gold. Save some green at Coghlan Ford. During Ford Truck Month, take over $13,000 off MSRP, plus no payments until June on select new F-150s. New Bronco Sport or Ranger. Lease for $399 a month for 48 months. Visit CoglanFord.com.
Coghlan has the car for you.
Factory rebates to dealer. 90-day deferred payments. Not all buyers will qualify. Bronco $399 down. Ranger $2,000 down. 7,500 miles per year. 25 cents per mile over. Excludes $250 dock fee. $395 disposition fee at lease end. No security deposit. Ends 3/31/26.
Our yoga instructor challenged us to find inner peace. I found it faster than anyone. After 4 seconds, I stood up and screamed, "I found Nirvana! I win!" They asked me to leave. I guess they don't respect winning. Bet365 does, though. New customers get $365 in bonus bets just for betting $10. Namaste, losers. Bet365. Winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-MY-RESET. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. T&Cs apply. In-app only.
Aetna was there for me as I was going through a rough medical patch this year. I had peace of mind, which helped with my healing.
Those words from a real Aetna Medicare Advantage member speak to why U.S. News & World Report named us a best Medicare Advantage company. Because we show up on calls with members and doctors' offices when requested. We show up with the latest in online tools for easier access to healthcare. We show up for you. Because that's how healthier happens together. Member feedback has been edited for length and clarity.
When you saw your heating bills this winter, did you think this is out of control? The problem is your house is leaking money, and the only thing higher than your heating bills are your cooling bills. Steve here from USA Insulation. Let us fix your energy bill problem for good. If you aren't foam insulated, you really aren't insulated. For $99 a month, interest-free, we'll foam your home and help cut those energy bills. 529-2440 or USAinsulation.net.
USA Insulation.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for almost 80 years. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Our top men are working on everything except this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
I would not say that's true on Fridays. We've got top men Tim May and Jacob Reimer in. Eric Reeser, per the usual. We'll go out now to the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. If you listened or watched the Bill and Doug show on YouTube before Ohio State and TCU, you might have had a sense of what was coming between the Buckeyes and the Horned Frogs. Easy for me to say. Doug Lesmerises, our guest. Again, Bill and Doug show on YouTube. Substack, Bill and Doug on Ohio State football. He joins us courtesy of the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. I think I said that twice. Doug, good morning. Of the things you in a postmortem like this, you look back on. What do you think should have been the call with 4 seconds left and Ohio State the ball down 2?
I mean, it's hard because there's just a couple memorable ones in Ohio State history where they executed that, right? And I was there in 2010 at the Big Ten tournament when they had 2.2 seconds against Michigan to go to length of the court, and they ran like a little curl with Evan Turner. He caught it on the move, 2 gigantic dribbles, and drilled like a 35-footer, and it just felt a little static. With the way they got the ball to Bruce Thornton. He wasn't downhill as much as Turner was in a situation like that. But, you know, that was perfect execution 16 years ago. It's just proof that it can be done, right? And you can get past half the court. You can get a better shot. I understand wanting it in Bruce Thornton's hands, but I just thought if you can make the inbounds pass to a guy on the move, I think you have a better chance to get something downhill and get across. half court quicker.
Would you have made the shot, though, Doug?
Would I have made the half court shot? I would have drilled it.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing, because Bruce Thornton, the possession before, drills the three-pointer to tie the game with the guy's hand right in his face.
Yep.
They didn't run very good offense there. He made a tough shot when he had not made a shot from the field in the second half. And so he made the shot in a tough circumstance to even give them a chance. So it's like, all right, we're going back to Bruce. And it's like, I get that, but it was just slow and covered like from the jump. And it makes you wonder, like, is there something else you can do to give a guy a little more space?
By the way, help me out here. Didn't the Bill and Doug show, didn't it used to be the Doug and Bill show? Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, no, it's just we're leaning into the acronym, brother.
I know, I told you. I'm taking credit because I said, man, Bill and Doug, bad.
Yeah.
Bad is
we
good.
lowered the standard.
Yeah.
It's a bad show.
The other one, when it was the other one, Doug and Bill, it was Dab, like a little dab will do you. Brill cream.
Let's say dab 'em up, but
yeah. So anyway, hey, real quick, what do you think? We had Mark Titus, comments about Ohio State fans and how, especially with basketball, they just pay attention like 2 months a year, maybe, and if things are going well. But where are you in the Jake Diebler argument? Because I understood from movers and shakers at Ohio State there was no chance Jake Diebler was going away at the end of this season, but that probably next year was going to be a definite, make it or break it kind of like season for him as a new head coach. It'd be his third full year and stuff.
Yeah.
Where do you come down on that? Because I think we saw a learning moment at the end of the game yesterday. I think we saw a learning moment at the beginning of the game yesterday when they seemed shocked by the shock and awe of TCU. So where are you in that realm in the progress of Jake Diebler as a head coach of Ohio State basketball?
The head coach of Ohio State basketball shouldn't be learning on the job like that. So they shouldn't have hired him. So, I mean, like that's Ryan Day's the exception to the rule, but Ryan Day was taken over for a head coach that was successful. I just find it odd to fire a coach and promote his assistant. You shouldn't be doing – I said this about, Brian Hartline and Colin Plays. It's like Ohio State is not a place to do things for the first time, right? Yeah. But here we are. So you're in it. So that Jake Diebler didn't hire himself. So he's in it. And so now to rally and win 4 at the end of the year to make the tournament, great job. To rally in that game and not fall apart and come back and take the lead, great job. So, there's good things that team and that program and that coach are doing. But he's in a situation where, that's what happens at a low major, right? That's it's a 13 seed and they've never been here and it's his coach's first time. Not Ohio State. Mm-hmm. Not Ohio State. Yeah. But here you are. So I think next year's got to be good. And they got trapped in the waiting. Chris Holtman was always like, well, wait for 2 years from now. Yeah. And then the result is you throw away most of a decade on waiting for something that never comes.
Right.
So they cannot sit on the train of next year, 2027 was pretty good and they got a little better. Let's show. No, it's go time, right? So they have the 5-star freshmen coming in, Royal, Bynum, and Mobley. They got to keep all three. That's a real core.
Oh, yeah.
That's offensive skill. That's a real core.
Oh, yeah.
So they've got to be good next year. And then, again, every time we talk about changes with coaching, it is not about the coach. It is not about what's fair to the coach. It's about what's fair to the program. And so it's not Jake Diebler's fault. He didn't hire himself. But if you get to a point where you think, we can do better than this, it's not about whether the coach got a fair shot. It's about whether Ohio State basketball can be better. So they have to be good next year. You've got to think that way.
Hey, I haven't looked at the brackets. I should have looked at them before I say this, but what if the national championship game is Dusty May versus John Calipari? You understand where I'm going there?
Yeah. No, I mean, absolutely.
That would send some Ohio State fans into a tizzy. Go ahead.
But they're out there.
Yeah.
But those guys are out there. They could get a guy like that whenever they decided to.
Yeah.
So it's always every program, every team that does have resources. If you have no resources, you're limited. If you have some resources, you just constantly say to yourself, is this the best we can do? And if the answer is no, we could do better, it's not about who's there currently. It's about who the best could be for the program. That's how you have to think.
Get the Bill and Doug Show on YouTube. Bad Show, Good Dudes. Substack Bill and Doug on Ohio State football. He joins courtesy of the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Doug, Ohio State's got a pro day next Wednesday. I don't know, would it be beneficial for Julian Sain and Jeremiah Smith to go out there and participate? Is there any of the draft-eligible Buckeyes this year that maybe should just hang out in shorts and a T-shirt and not work out?
That's a good question. There were some of the guys that didn't do the drills and stuff at the combine. I'm curious what Caleb Downs does with some of his testing. There's a lot of good film out there, though, right? I'm not sure. What can Sonny Styles do more of? I mean, could he levitate?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is he going to run through drills hopping on one foot? This is a guy who put up a great year of film and then destroyed the NFL Combine at a level that we've rarely seen. So
Jesse Owens' 1936 Olympics-style performance.
Right. What are you going to go do the decathlon on the outside? I don't know what else they want to see. Maybe run him through some edge drills and that kind of thing. Let him show some pass rush moves, but
find some faults. Yeah.
Cade McDonald, I think, was saving some stuff for pro day, so I think he's going to put down some drills and things like that. And you watch the mock drafts. Cade McDonald was a pre-combine, kind of viewed as a first rounder. Maybe now slipping more towards the second round if he throws some good numbers down. I certainly think he's a candidate again to be viewed as a first round pick, but. There's a lot of guys that people know are good football players.
Yeah, you want to get drafted is the main thing. I think Davis and Igbenogson, needs to show maybe a couple things. We'll see how that goes. And then, Caden Curry was, I don't know, he just from a reporting and everything from over there in Indy, he kind of slipped through the cracks and stuff. I think, the pro day for him could be pretty big too, don't you? Because I really thought he came on last year. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, production's through the roof, right? With the number of pressures, making impact plays that mattered. I mean, people saw him plant the Heisman winner and national champion on the first play of the Big Ten championship game. And so it's one of those things. Is it production? Is it built out of something else? Is it they're scheming up other guys and you're getting free, or do you have individual skill? And I think Caden Curry does have that. So, you drop some good agility numbers. You drop, show a little speed and you can certain guys like that though, right? I mean, is he going to destroy testing numbers the way Sonny Styles did? No. And sometimes production matters, but they get caught up in traits, which I get.
Yeah.
But I think he's got some traits too.
Yeah. Real quick, the Arvell Reese phenomenon, does it have staying power all the way through the first night of the draft? Do you feel that's going, because when you look at him, He had a really great start to last year, kind of tailed off. But, a lot of people catch up to what you're doing. That's why the great thing about Patricia, kept mixing things up and stuff. But do they want to see a little bit more from Arvell Reese from the standpoint of, was he just a one-year wonder? You know where I'm going with that, Doug.
Yeah, it is interesting. There's a lot of guys are sticking around now, right? You think about Reuben Bain. Reuben Bain was doing his thing a long time in college football, right?
That could be a song.
David Bailey did it longer than Arvell Reese did. So in the old days, we were used to a guy pops in year 3 and goes, and there's more veteran guys. But then it's tantalizing because he just didn't have as many pass rush opportunities.
Right.
So if you're classifying him as an edge, and they're comparing him to Bailey and Bain, he had his one-third as many pass rush opportunities as those guys did. So, I think part of the second half of the year was they didn't use him as much getting after the quarterback, and that's why his production numbers went down. So, again, I think sometimes pro teams like to be tantalized by what they didn't see, right? And there is so much
we can get it out of him.
Yes, that the unknown is appealing sometimes, right? And sometimes when a guy does it, you take it for granted. So I do think, obviously, the traits are there. He's a really good, smart football player, but he said it at the Combine. He feels like he's scratching the surface. I talked to multiple people who use that phrase about Arvell Reese, right?
Yeah.
And when you get to that point, man, that's hard to turn down. And it's we got to take him in the top 5 because what could he be? And he hasn't had the chance to show it all.
Bill and Doug on Ohio State football, BillandDougOSU.substack.com. Do some proper spring reading or listening while you do your spring cleaning. Doug Lesmerises, our guest every Friday at this time. Doug, appreciate the time. Enjoy the weekend. We'll catch up next week.
Thanks, fellas. Be well.
Yeah, I think it was...
sometimes bad is good.
It's, again, bad show, great dudes. We'll do 3 things on a Friday. Next, it's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
File your taxes for free with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. Just file on your own in the Credit Karma app by February 28th. Valid for those who didn't file with TurboTax last year.
Colin Man here for Jermaine. Everybody's talking about affordability when buying a car these days, but the truth is, GoJermaine.com has a great selection of affordable inventory. Maybe that tax return's going to hit your mailbox pretty soon. Well, go see my friends because they have 300 new cars under 30 grand, over 300 used cars under 20 grand, and it's only at GoJermaine.com. And along with their $1,000 price promise, no one's going to sell you a car for less. Get started at GoJermaine.com.
Remember your first football game? The sound of the crowd, the smell of the grill, the moment you fell in love with the game. This spring break, pass that moment on. At the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, families walk through the greatest moments in football history and create new memories of their own. See the legends, experience the history, share the game you love. Make the Hall of Fame part of your spring break road trip. Plan your visit today at ProFootballHof.com.
When you saw your heating bills this winter, did you think this is out of control? The problem is your house is leaking money, and the only thing higher than your heating bills are your cooling bills. Steve here from USA Insulation. Let us fix your energy bill problem for good. If you aren't foam insulated, you really aren't insulated. For $99 a month, interest-free, we'll foam your home and help cut those energy bills. 529-2440 or USAinsulation.net.
USA Insulation.
Recalculating route. Estimated arrival time. Never.
For people with nasal congestion, snoring, or sleep apnea, finding a solution feels like a never-ending road trip.
First stop, my primary doctor. Then the pharmacy. Then a sleep specialist. Then an ENT.
What if there was just one destination for all your problems?
Welcome to Advent, your one-stop solution for nasal congestion, snoring, and sleep apnea for over 20 years. Unlike many other practices, we focus exclusively on these conditions, so you get comprehensive care in one location. Over 95% of patients with severe nasal breathing issues report improvement. Plus, most insurance is accepted for our effective 20-minute in-office treatments.
You have arrived at Clear Breathing.
Hey there, friends. High Bank isn't just award-winning whiskey. They also make the best vodka in America. With 3 Central Ohio locations serving scratch-made food and craft cocktails, High Bank is perfect for date night, game day, or drinks with friends. Learn more at highbankco.com. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
Spring is hatching at the Columbus Zoo. Join us April 3rd and 4th for Eggs, Paws, and Claws. Snap a pic with the Easter Bunny, meet Egbert, roll into Shelley's Celebration, and crack the clues in the Eggsplore and find. It's 2 extra fun days you won't want to miss. Get your discounted tickets at Kroger.
One more play-by-play. It's on the Fan 2. March Madness, Reds baseball, Ohio State athletics, and much more. Find the Fan 2 on the Fan's HD2 channel and 1460 on the AM dial.
Sausage, egg, cheese, made from scratch buttermilk biscuit. Hungry? Canadian bacon, egg, cheese, fresh baked croissant. How about now? Bacon, sausage, Canadian bacon, cinnamon swirl French toast. There it is. Grab a hot UDF breakfast sandwich made in store on fresh baked biscuits and croissants from our bakery. And right now, buy any breakfast sandwich and get the second one for just $1. Only at UDF. Mornings made for you.
Why does it matter to members that Aetna was named a Best Medicare Advantage company by U.S. News and World Report? Because they chose a plan that gives them real support, real people, and real care. We show up on calls with members and doctors' offices when needed. We show up with access to convenient care options and coverage that fits everyday life. We don't show up for awards. We show up for you. And showing up for you is how healthier happens together.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. The show that understands the importance of a situational beverage. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Yes, you are. Eric Reeser, Jacob Reimer, the venerable Tim May. It was good for me. Hopefully it was good for you today.
Totally enjoyed it.
Right.
I hope I added something to the program.
You always do. When we talk next Friday at 10:30?
Yes.
When we do our normal hit, it won't be the Tim May wild card, although I thought its maiden voyage was spectacular today.
Yeah.
For
I've got
Tim
a
May
lot of
lead
wild
us.
cards
I
out
know,
there. I grasped the concept, but I didn't grasp it like I could have because I could have talked about getting flipped over in an airplane when I was 18 years old.
That's the next time we do the wild card.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
It's what I always say about ideas. You just got to get it out there, and then you can build off of that idea.
Bingo.
The Daily Fan Poll, which you can find on Twitter at 971thefan soon, or at 971thefan.com, is sponsored by JT's Pizza and Pub. And it asks, now with the Buckeyes dismissed from the big dance, how much of the NCAA tournament will you be watching? Your options are all of it, some of it, none of it. 75% say they're going to be watching some of it. 10% say all of it, and what would that math be for none of it? Tim May, are you going to be watching all, some, or none?
I'm going to be watching when I can because it's hard to watch 4 games in a row.
It's a lot.
But
you're not a quad boxer.
With me, like the great thing about DirecTV, I didn't even check it yesterday, but sometimes you can get 6 screens up there at once, or 4 screens up there at once.
DirecTV was the OG quad boxer,
And I'm really big. I've got a 75-inch television, so if I pull my one chair up there close enough, I can see. It's like looking at 4 24-inch or 28-inch televisions. So it's pretty cool. Or being in a sports bar, but yeah, I'm gonna watch as much as possible. I enjoy this stuff.
Jacob, do I even need to ask you?
Sorry. Yes, I will be watching every single game of the NCAA tournament.
That's like asking, is the sun hot?
It is. And in this case, it's spring, so yes.
1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Newman Roofing. For all your roofing, gutter, or siding needs, call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
First thing from me today, if you are someone within the listening audience who has the opportunity to be the cannoneer for the Columbus Blue Jackets, the person that lights the cannon to begin CBJ festivities at Nationwide Arena, we've got the video up at 971 The Fan of Tyvis Powell lighting it last night. And so he fires the cannon first, and the Jackets go on to make it fire 6 more times. Tyvis showed you exactly how you need to do it and how not to be surprised by that thing that really seems to surprise everybody despite it being there for the last 15 years. But good job out of Tyvis.
Yes.
Great job out of the Blue Jackets, who are now in a postseason spot, baby.
It's kind of like watching, by the way, Tom Cruise in the first Top Gun.
A true professional.
On the first catapult shot, where he's trying not to go backwards, but of course he did. But, hey, my number one thing, Miami of Ohio against Tennessee today, I want to see the magic continue.
Yeah.
Number one, Miami has embraced, it looks like, the term Miami, Ohio, because back when I covered the MAC in the late 70s, early 80s, they wanted to be known as Miami.
Of course they
did. And we
did.
tried to explain to them we needed some separation there. But bottom line is I want to see it because you really like a Cinderella story. And then when it comes from your own state or something that you can really, truly get behind and embrace, it's pretty cool if that's the case. So Miami keeps shooting those threes.
First thing for me, if you guys haven't seen this yet, I highly recommend that you do. But High Point upset Wisconsin yesterday, and there's a clip going around of the student radio call, and it's a cam of the students on the call, and that's Jimmy Roselli and Griffin Wright just going absolutely electric. The call is awesome, so if you haven't checked that out, definitely go and find that.
Yeah, it's so cool to see those two. I don't know if they ever thought they would be in that situation.
Yeah.
Find themselves calling an NCAA tournament game. And
an upset.
Reactions are what's so cool about March. I also was wondering, and I'll just use this as my second thing, and I'll get your two to answer the query that I have and not make it part of your second things. But are we really mad that the NCAA tournament's showing the scores from other games on the top of the screen?
No.
I saw scuttlebutt online from that yesterday. People were like being spoiled of some of the games, and I think that's so cool about what you've got. If you can't do the quad box like me, I can do 1 or 2 TVs at a time.
Yeah.
Let me know what's happening. I appreciate it.
I absolutely appreciate it.
That was one of my favorite things before the quad box was like if you're locked into one game and like you can see what else is going on, what's not in a timeout. Like if the game you're watching is getting kind of out of reach and you can see another game is like could be an upset or something like that, then I'll just quickly flip to that.
Absolutely, that's exactly what I do. By the way, did that call include the phrase "boom goes the dynamite" by those student guys?
No.
I wonder if they ever had games where they just had a list of phrases they had to get into the broadcast.
Did you ever see that video?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was great. My number 2 thing is Akron, Texas Tech. It's a 12-5. Has the 12-5 bubble already been burst?
Be careful, Tech.
But talk about Cinderella. I mean, John Gross, his second coming as a very good college head basketball coach. The first was at Ohio, then he went flat at Illinois, and now is at Akron. Has built his own legacy there. But like I said, there are a couple of chances for MAC teams to be Cinderellas, and also, by the way, end up with the wins, the in-state wins from this state that also has Ohio State. That's got to be a little bit.
You root for the home team. If the home team's not in it, then you root for the Ohio team.
Yeah.
Second thing for me, it doesn't matter how much college basketball you watch, your bracket will always be the worst. I think I went 8-8 in the games yesterday, and in my family bracket, that has me tied for last with my 6-month-old daughter.
You're supposed to be the expert.
I know. I got a little crazy on some. My dog is in first place in our family bracket, and my wife is in second. And my sister-in-law also was perfect until the BYU game last night. So it always happens that way.
Of course it does.
I'll make this my final thing because nobody knows anything. Thanks to Connor and to Chris, loyal friends and listeners of the program, for setting up the Bishop and Friends Bracket Challenge on ESPN. We got 257 brackets submitted before yesterday's noon deadline. Our nonsense bracket, where we picked where we'd want to send our kids to school, which teams our dogs would be rooting for, is in 33rd place of 257. Reimer, to your point, I'm in 171st.
Yeah.
With a bracket that are like, oh, I think I know what I'm doing.
So you're saying there's a chance.
My Sweet 16, my Sweet 16 is still alive, which is giving me hope. Outside of one, I had South Florida go into the Sweet 16.
I got Duke. And if TCU puts the clamps on them, I'll no longer have Duke.
Well, my dog has TCU in the Elite Eight.
Jeez.
So.
Hey, we've seen a lot of teams take it on the chin in that first game, but they get their feet under them, and the Duke could be that team. I like Boozer's little brother.
Yeah.
He's coming
or
along.
twin brother,
The
whatever
twins.
he is. Yeah. I forget which one came out first. There's a story about that somewhere. By the way, my third thing is, boy, years go flying by, man. It's crazy. I'm not going to tell you what birthday. Yeah, my 72nd birthday's coming up in days. But I remember sitting in Ryan Day's office this time a year ago and doing a podcast with him real quick. And I said, at the end, I think this is it, man. I think I'm retiring. And he just kind of stands up, shakes my hand, and said, yeah, you said that 6 years ago. So thank you for opportunities, I guess.
Last thing for me, Rothman and Ice up next. Joshua Perry is in for Matty Ice again, and they've got Adam Jardy at 12:30.
Tim, always a pleasure.
Yes.
You're never going to retire.
Yeah.
So we love having you. Jacob, thanks so much. Everybody, have a wonderful weekend. We're back with the aforementioned Joshua Perry and Ryan Baker, Monday, 9 to noon, Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
If you haven't thought about Buckeye football today, I'm sorry to tell you that you're dead. Our condolences. Your home of the